Like, again, right from the beginning of the movie, the editing was really weird, where, like, it starts out where the title crawl is, yo, the fucking First Order's wrecking everyone's shit, what's up? Like, and the rebels gotta escape. It's gonna be so hard to call them the Resistance. They don't even care at this point. Although, once again, the biggest question on my mind is where the fuck did the First Order come from? Like, where are these people? Where do they come from? They beat the Empire at the end of episode 6. Where the fuck did the First Order come from? Doesn't matter. Anyway, so, like, that's a big thing with this movie is, like, the big theme is, like, hope in the darkness. Like, it's going for a very Empire Strikes Back feeling of this is the lowest moment in the narrative for our heroes. Oh, I will say, like, anyway, I'm starting from the beginning. Like, again, that shot of we see, like, the ships of the rebels being like, okay, we're ready to get the fuck out of here, and it, like, does a zoom down to the planet. Where, like, okay, here's the Malcolm Calamari ship, and it's getting all rigged up and ready to go, and it zooms down through all of the transport ships down to the planet's surface onto these resistance soldiers being like, okay, load everything up, we gotta go. Oh shit, the Star Destroyers are here. And I was like, what is this editing? Like, literally, those were my thoughts as I was watching the movie. It's like, this is kind of weird editing. Like, why are you doing this in a Star Wars movie? And the Star Destroyers show up, and they're like, yo, let's fuck those guys up. That's what we're gonna do, because we are the First Order. I like the villains, by the way. Like, that was kind of a thing that the original movies didn't really have, is they had Darth Vader, and that's kind of it. Like the first, like, New Hope had Tarkin, and he was a great, like, villainous figure, but then he died on the Death Star, and then the second movie was just Darth Vader, and the other Empire's, like, admirals and soldier dudes was kind of a joke, because Vader would just keep killing them. And then the third movie had the Emperor, but he only just showed up for that movie. In this movie, like, you actually have, like, a cast of villains. You've got Kylo, you've got Snoke, and you've got Hoss. Hoss? Redhead Nazi guy. Like, you actually have a decent cast of villains, so when you cut to the bad guys' team, you know who these people are. They're not just unnamed Empire Admiral guys walking around. Oh, it's like, oh, hey, it's that dick, right? We know him. They could have used Phasma more often. So what a wasted character. What a wasted character Captain Phasma was. Anyway, like, it cuts to them on the Star Destroyer, and they're being like, okay, we're gonna fuck those guys up. Oh shit, a single tiny fighter is coming at us. I'm like, yeah, it's Poe. He's gonna wreck some shit, and it's the Black X-Wing, and BB-8's in there. A lot of great comedy with BB-8 in this movie. And he's like, okay, we're gonna fuck that ship up, and Leia's like, no, dude, like, fuck, you're gonna, like, this is not gonna go well. And he's like, nah, we're good. And so, like, again, the, like, great space battles in this movie with Poe. Oh, that was actually the first part of, like, yo, this movie got some jokes, was he, like, patch me. It was kind of a very Star Trek moment, actually, where he called the First Order, the Empire, the First Order, and it's like, send a message to them, and they're like, he's hailing us, patch him through. I was like, oh, hey, Picard, yeah, patch him through, put it on the main screen, and they pressed a button, and it was a Star Wars sound effect, but I goddamn almost expected it to be a Star Trek sound effect, because it was a very Star Trek moment. Where he's like, hey, yeah, I want to talk to Haas. And Haas is like, yo, your mom's a fat bitch, and I'm going to kill all your friends because I'm evil, and you suck. And Poe was like, Yeah, I'm looking for Haas. Like, are you gonna put him on? He's like, I'm Haas. I'm gonna kill you and all your friends. He's like, okay, I'll wait on hold. It was a fucking knee slapper in the theater. People were cracking up. It was really funny, and he was like, it was like, again, what a down to earth joke to have in a Star Wars movie. That's not the kind of humor Star Wars has, but it was really fucking funny. Where he's like, "Can you hear me? Like, am I on? Like, hello? Yes, are you on hold? What's going on?" And then it cuts back to the X-wing, and there's a bar filling up. It's like, oh, he's just stalling them. Like, there was a purpose to it. It was a funny fucking joke, but like there was an internal logic to it in the character's head. Like, I'm gonna fuck with them to distract them so I can build up my fucking weapon meter. But when you're watching it, it's just a funny scene, and you're like, "What's like? That's hilarious. He's just being an asshole." But oh, there was a reason for it. And then boom, his fucking engines fire up, and he's going in there, and he's gonna blow up all the ships. And they're like, "God damn, this stupid little tiny thing." Oh, with that was a great ship designs in this because when all the Star Destroyers showed up, the big fucking Star Destroyers showed up, and I was like, "Good design." It. I'm so ruined. I've been so ruined by critical faculties where I watch a movie and I go, "Good artist, you did a good job designing that." Isn't that kind of sad in a tiny little way? The fact that that thought is what goes into my brain when watching a movie, right? Oh, good job, artist who drew that, and CGI artist who fucking modeled it and put it in the movie. You did a good job with that shot, right? That's kind of depressing when you really fucking think about it. But anyway, I can do both. I can kind of be on two levels with it, right? There's onions here. There's a fucking onion. Anyway, so Poe's zipping around and blowing up all the shit, and like again, this is what I mean by it. Like the space battles were badass, but they were very small scale because the drama of the scene was, oh, he kind of got clipped, and now his weapons don't work, so BB-8 had to like plug some fucking sparks and try and get the guns to start working again. And like almost a minute. I want to say the scene was pretty much a minute long of Poe being like, whoa, 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 trying not to get shot, and cutting to BB-8 plugging holes in like the ship's internal wiring to get the guns to work. That's what I mean, because in a big full scale battle scene, you will cut to named characters in their cockpits going, "Yo, we gotta hit the thing because we got a thing, gotta blow up the thing and shoot the thing with their thing," and then cut to the dogfight with ships shooting each other, and like, oh, there's the Falcon and there's the TIE Fighter, and stuff blows up sometimes, and oh, cut to the cockpit of the ship that got shot and show it blowing up. But it's like kind of all over the place. Like, there's not a scene in any of the movies where in a big pitched starship battle with the fucking guns and TIE fighters behind them where Lando's going, "Oh hey, something's weird back there, go fix it," and the camera stays there for a full fucking minute in the middle of this big huge battle that's going on. Like, it's not going, "Hey, how's it going back there? Hurry up." And then it cuts to them in the back going, "We're trying to fix it. We're trying to fix it." Cut to the TIE fighters shooting at it for like a whole minute. Like, it's really zoomed in big battle war scenes, which was interesting to me. So anyway, like, then the rest of they had some good new designs for ships too, by the way. Like, that's why I don't want to get detracted, but fucking some people are like, oh, the prequels weren't that bad. At least they had new ideas. No, they fucking didn't. Okay? Suck my dick. No, they didn't. Okay? The fucking ships, they still looked like the old ships. Okay? The ships in fucking in fucking Revenge of the Sith? What the fuck is the third movie called? Oh my god, I have blocked so much of those movies out of my head. I don't remember what they're called. Of episode 3. The fucking ships in episode 3, they still look like X-Wings and TIE Fighters, they're just not literally X-Wings and TIE Fighters. They're still playing on your nostalgia. It's still the same fucking thing where it's going, hey kids, remember this? Remember X-Wings? These kinda look like X-Wings. Fuck you. What's the difference? They're literally using X-Wings. Big fucking deal. Might as well. If they're just gonna look like X-Wings anyway, just have them be X-Wings. Shut the fuck up. Anyway. But they had some new ships. Like, there were these big, like, aircraft, like, bombing. That was the other thing, because the spaceship battles in Star Wars are inspired by World War II era dogfighting. Right? Like, the little biplanes and the Red Bear. Well, that's World War One. And the Red Baron flying around shooting each other down. That's what the original dogfights in the first movie were based on. So in this movie, they had big bombing planes. Like the big, slow, lumbering, heavy bombing planes that opened up the hatch and dropped all the bombs out, right? And they looked pretty cool. They had a really different kind of design. And I was like, oh, they're going to bring in the Y-Wings, because the Y-Wings are like the bombing ships in the expanded universe and always get used for that. Even in Battlefront 2, if you watch my Battlefront 2 playthrough, during a space battle, and you're fighting a Star Destroyer, they're like, let our bombers come in here, and it's fucking Y-Wings. So you expect it to be Y-Wings, but it's this new, big, different, interesting spacecraft. And they drop the bomb. But although, again, that was the weird thing about the editing in this early part, because it cuts to this one character in one of the bombing ships, and I kept going like, are we supposed to know who this is? Because there was a weird importance put on this character, and we have never seen this fucking person before. Like, why am I supposed to care? It made sense later because of a different character, but, like, why am I supposed to give a shit about this new character I've never seen before? Like, all of the bombers get fucked up. That was really fucked up, by the way. Like, some guy opened the bombing bay, the bay that all the bombs were in, and he's like, activating the bombs. And then a TIE fighter gets shot and crashes into the bombing ship and fucking blows up all of the bombs inside the bay of the ship and blows up the entire ship. And it's like, oh, that's fucked up. And this whole scene, like, plays into Poe's character arc, because Leia's like, okay, all our shit is in the bay, we gotta go. Okay, we gotta go now. Poe's like, no, we can blow it up. And she's like, who gives a shit? We gotta go. And he's like, no, we're gonna stay and we're gonna blow up the Star Destroyer. And then all of the fucking bombers get killed. All of the bombers get killed. And there's one bomber left, and it's the one with the Asian girl that we don't know or care about, but for some reason the movie thinks we do. And she's like, what's going on? And someone, like the guy who had the detonator for the bombs, is dead for no reason. And she runs up there to grab the detonator, but like she runs up the ladder in like the bay that has all the bombs in it. But then, oh shit, the ship got hit, and she falls down the ladder and gets knocked out, and the screen cuts to black for like 4 seconds. I'm like, is that it? And then, oh, like, here's the camera. Like, it's a weird editing choice. I don't know about the cinematography in the Star Wars movie. That's not how you do that. But anyway. So then she's like kicking the ladder to try and get the detonator to fall down. And she's got a necklace on. And she's like, oh, the necklace. I'm going to sacrifice myself by pressing the detonator and dropping all the bombs and blowing up the big ship. And they blow up the big ship, but the fucking bomber goes down along with it. And you're like, why do I care that this person died? Because I don't care. but she did. I guess that's sad or whatever. But they blew it up, and it was successful. And then they're like, okay, we gotta go. And they all landed back in the ship. That's the big rebel ship. And Leia's like, that was so not worth it. Like, she's looking at a big screen of like, here's all the shit that just got blown up. Thanks for blowing up all our shit, idiot. And they just jump at, like, they could have, because that plays into Poe's character arc for this movie, because he's like, we gotta blow up this ship, but the ship was gonna shoot at them. The fact that they went through with this ridiculous plan to blow up the thing just put the entire fleet in danger. Because during all this time where they're trying to drop the bombs, and it was sheer, like, serendipity that the plan even worked at all, because all of their bombers went down. And, like, reasonably speaking, the last one shouldn't have been successful. Because, like, she almost dropped the detonator. She almost passed out on the ladder, and she had to sacrifice her life in order to do it in the first place in a big, desperate gamble that they shouldn't have tried to do. Well, like, it worked, and they did blow up the ship, but, like, they got lucky. And you can't depend on luck. You can't lead an army on some hotshot, like, mission to, like, oh, it's risky, but we're gonna stop them from doing the thing and save everyone, when, like, the smarter option would have been, okay, all our shit's on the ship, bring the squadron of fighters back, get them in the bay so that we can go. And he's like, no. And while he was being like, no, and trying to blow up the ship, they were like, okay, shoot that shit with our big-ass guns. Shoot the fleet with our guns. And if he had just fucking pulled his fleet back to get back in the ship, they would have been out of there and been totally safe. And, like, the movie for his character is learning, like, you can't put your faith in big, desperate plans. You can't be like, no, like, this is like, either all or nothing, roll the dice, and depend on the unlikely chance that the heroes will succeed in the mission. Because he gets back in the ship, and Leia's like, fuck you. We lost all our people, all our dudes are dead, and you were an idiot because we didn't even need to fucking do that. We just had to escape. We didn't need to blow up a fucking ship. So, like, yeah, we blew up a ship. Good job, I guess, but we really just should have gotten the fuck out of there, honestly. And he's like, no, I did a good job, and they died with valor for hero. They were heroes. Yeah, well, they're dead now, so they can't be heroes and help us out anymore. Good job, right? And so the movie for him is learning, like, okay, now I'm gonna do another desperate plan to save us all. Oh, it didn't work this time. Like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. Maybe I should actually prioritize the option that's gonna save people's lives instead of risking everything on these 3 people succeeding in something that they're probably not gonna succeed in, right? So that's his character arc through the movie, and it's set up in the beginning with that scene. But it's still so weird that it was edited that way. But anyway, and then, like, they're back on the ship, and Finn wakes up, and he's got, again, they're like slapstick in a Star Wars movie. Like, he rolls out of the hospital bed and breaks his medical suit, and there's holes and water squirting through it, and he's wandering around being like in a daze in this medical suit, and Poe's like, dude, okay, calm down. I know you must have 1,000 questions. And Finn goes, where's Rey? I love that moment. That moment's great. You must have 1,000 questions. Nope, just one. Just one question. Where's Rey? And like, their relationship's really cute. I honestly, like, really dig Finn and Rey's relationship. I know people who didn't like Force Awakens because they're cynical assholes probably don't give a shit. But, like, these two characters being connected like that is really great. I like that, because Rey grew up always being alone and always having to survive on her own and learning not to depend on other people and learning that she just has to be strong enough to get through, like, on her own 2 feet. And, like, she's so, like, rugged because of that mentality and way of life that when someone's there to actually lend her a hand and try and help her, she rejects it. She's like, no, I don't need you, I can be fine on my own. But, like, Finn kind of broke through that with genuine selflessness. Because she grew up on this shit scavenger planet where everyone's out for themselves, her parents abandoned her and she doesn't know where they are. Like, she's, like, concocted this fantasy of there must be a grander reason for why I was abandoned. And one day they'll come back for me. And there will be a big reason for why. Like, desperately looking for a purpose in her own existence, basically. And like, rejecting anyone who tries to help her. Because it's like, I don't need your help. I can get by on my own. I'm going to be fine. I'm waiting for my parents to come back and get me. But Finn, with his genuine selflessness, genuinely being, like, reaching out for her, broke through that. Because the moment where they connected was, like, he keeps grabbing her. That was a great detail about Finn's character. Finn was kind of not really in this movie, by the way. But, like, that was a great detail about Finn's character that kept getting shown, was he didn't really have any concept of boundaries because of how he was raised as part of the First Order, even though his backstory is not really well defined. Like, he would keep, like, shoving his arms in people's faces and stuff. And so he would keep grabbing her hand and pulling her away, and she's like, fuck you, stop grabbing my hand. And then, like, a big explosion happens because of the TIE fighter shooting at him. I'm talking about Force Awakens, so I'm not going into detail about it. I'm talking about them as characters. And, like, a thing happened, and she's like, oh shit, like, dude, are you okay? Like, oh my god, like, he's kind of passed out for a second. And he wakes up, he's like, are you okay? And she's like visibly taken aback by it. She's like, yeah, I'm good. Like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, you're the one who passed out. I'm the one who's fine, shaking you awake, seeing if you're okay. And the first words out of his mouth are you okay? And she's like, whoa, like, you're the real thing. Like, and that was the moment where they kind of connected. And Finn, for his part, again, like, he grew up, it's implied that he was part of the First Order since birth, and he was raised and brainwashed on their, like, propaganda and bullshit and trained by them. And, like, on his first fucking mission out as part of the First Order, he's, like, traumatized by the reality of it. He's like, oh my god, like, fuck. Whoa. And he's just desperately trying, I gotta get out of this. I gotta get out of this shit. So, whenever he meets anyone, like, when that's your whole fucking life, when you're fucking part of the Hitler Youth your entire life, the instant you get away from that, you're kind of immediately going to imprint and connect with the first fucking person you meet. So, like there's those social trust boundaries don't really exist for him. Because it's like, you're not part of the First Order? Okay, we're in. I'm good with you, right? So, like, it starts out with Poe, because he meets Poe, and he's like, okay, we can help each other, but, like, Poe is, like, a kind of charismatic, personable kind of guy, so he immediately forges a thing with him, and then Poe apparently dies, and he's like, well, now I'm alone. So he's wandering around, having just escaped from the First Order, just watched the first human being he had a real connection with apparently die right in front of his eyes. And so he meets Rey, and he kind of can't help himself but to connect with that person immediately, because, you know, like when you're fucking drowning, it doesn't matter who, as long as someone's there to grab for you, then you'll fucking hold on and never let go. So they have this really nice relationship where they are the first person that either one has ever had in their life, right? Rey has never had a family, and so she connects with Poe on that level. Finn. So she connects with Finn on that level, and Finn has never had a family, so he connects with her on that level, and like kind of immediately, and through Force Awakens, they bond on a familial level. I feel you could read it romantically, but I feel it's more familial. Like they're siblings now in spirit. So he wakes up, doesn't know where he is, doesn't know what's going on, doesn't know what his deal, like what's my physical state, where are we, we're in the spaceship, what's the first thing out of his mouth, where's Finn, where's Rey, that's gonna happen, Freudian slips, where's Rey, that's the only thing that matters to him, in the, like, where's my sister, is she okay, right, and, stuff like that just really get, like, say what you fucking want about the Burger King Kids Club diversity happy hour. The characterization in these movies are good. The actors do a good job. For the most part. Although even the characters I don't like, the actors did what they were supposed to do. So, like, you can't hate on the actors, and the writing was fine, but some characters in this, I was like, I don't need this character in my life. But I feel like the core three, Finn, Poe, and Rey, have really good... Oh, and Kylo Ren. They're really good. The actors are great, and the writing is great for them. And so, anyway, it's like, where's Rey? Cut to Rey on the planet with Luke, and it shows her... Which brings up a weird question of timeline, because with the Resistance, it seems like a lot of time has passed, but then we cut to Rey, and it's immediately right where we left off. Like, it's the exact same shot of her handing him the lightsaber right at the very end of Force Awakens. So it's her handing him the lightsaber, and Luke takes the lightsaber, and he's like... Oh my god, again, like, that's what I'm talking about, where this movie has punchlines. Like, bum. Like, this big swelling importance, he has the lightsaber, fuck this. Just tosses it literally over his shoulder and fucking walks off. That's fucking hilarious. And she's like, what the fuck, you're Luke Skywalker, you're a Jedi Master, you're a living legend, you gotta come help me. He's like, fuck you! I ain't gotta do shit for you, you crusty old piece of pussy! Fuck you, get out of my face! I got my nipple milk, I got my fish, I ain't need shit. That's what, I alluded to this, there's this, like, when she's following him around during his, like, daily routine, living as a sequester on this island, he, like, goes up to these big, gross, fat, like, sea creatures or whatever who are just chilling on the beach, and they got big conspicuous boobs, and he just, like, presses on the boob and gets the milk in a bottle and drinks the milk, and it's super gross out, and it's like, why do you need to show me this? that was a little bit too much for me. That kind of went over the edge for me a little bit with that one. Anyway. So she's like, yo, you gotta come back and help us, and he's like, no, I don't. Go the fuck away, right? Because he's got his own fucking issues. And I did like their storyline, like that Luke had a great storyline in this movie, where he, like, came to terms with the fact that now he's the old busted. Like Rey's the new hotness, and Luke's the old busted, and he's like, oh, I'm the old busted, right? So, you know, kind of typical, like, I ain't putting up with this shit. Like, he locks the door, and she's like, come out and help, and he's like, no. And so fucking Chewie breaks the door in, which is a great funny moment also. Where he's like, fuck you, boom, crash this door open. He's like, I still don't care, go away. And it shows him like doing his thing, and she follows him around for a little bit. Oh yeah, that's when the owl penguins first show up. Like you first see the owl penguins fucking around with the lightsaber after he tosses it, and you did have people in the audience going, "Oh yeah!" So I guess I mean, some people are gonna want to buy plushies of those things. It kind of just washed over me, but some people did mark out for the owl penguins. So whatever. You have your mascot animal, right? Fine. They did have some funny moments though, but they did have some funny moments where like Chewie is like having a campfire and he's roasting a fucking owl penguin and he's gonna eat it, and it shows like this huddle of horrified looking owl penguins going, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of here, I'm hungry." And it cuts over to this other owl penguin and it's like, and he's like, "Fuck off," and then he feels guilty and can't eat the owl penguin. That was pretty funny. Again, they were really shoving it in your face. Here's the mascot. Go buy a plushie. And some people were gonna go buy a plushie. Like, good, fair enough, right? Anyway. So Luke's just living as a old hermit on this island, being like, fuck the world, I got my own shit. I got my own shit locked down. Over here, handling my business, drinking my nipple milk and eating fish. And then Rey, like, feels the calling of the Force. That's like, yo. And she's like, what? And it's like, yo. She's like, what? And like she goes into this fucking room and it's got all these old books in it. And Luke's like, yo, what's your fucking deal, bitch? Like, what are you doing over here? And she's like, you gotta come help. And he's like, fucking answer my question. Who are you? Where did you come from? What's your deal? And again, this was a funny moment where he was like, where did you come from? And she's like, nowhere. And he's like, nobody's from nowhere. And she's like, Jakku. And he's like, okay, that is pretty much nowhere. And that's the running theme with Rey's character, is she is desperately looking for this higher meaning in her life. She's kind of sitting there going like, I'm the main character, so I'm like the chosen one, I guess. Like, there's some greater destiny and importance in my life, right? Like, she's kind of reaching for that as a coping mechanism. Like, there must be some higher purpose for my existence, right? That's her storyline, and that's something she comes to terms with in her story, which had a great fucking resolution, by the way. But anyway, so Luke's finally like, okay, bitch, you don't get it? The Jedi suck? Everyone's dead? This shit is stupid? And that's what I'm gonna teach you. You want me to teach you the ways of the Force? You want me to teach you how to be a Jedi? No. I'm gonna show you that your, like, expectations are stupid. Those are the two running themes. Like, your expectations are wrong, the reality is more complicated, and let the past die. Which is ironic considering this movie is really banking on nostalgia. That's a really easy, cheap joke you can make at this movie, is let the past die. By the way, hey, remember these old movies, right? Like, the movie is going, let the past die. Hey, remember the past? Remember the past? It is actually kind of funny when you think about it, like, critically on that thematic level, where the theme is let the past die. Hey, remember the Battle of Hoth? Wasn't that some cool shit? Anyway. So he's like, your expectations are wrong. I'm not going to teach you how to be a Jedi. I'm going to teach you why there shouldn't be Jedi anymore. And I did really like that training sequence. I'm kind of going to start splitting off here, because at this point in the movie, again, it diverges into three storylines. Where it starts out with Finn with the Resistance, like, fleeing the First Order, and they come out of hyperspace, and the First Order shows up because they were tracking them, and they're like, that's impossible. How the fuck? And so the First Order starts fucking them up, and they're like, we just gotta get the fuck away from these motherfuckers. Like, we can't jump to light speed because we don't have enough fuel, and somehow they're tracking us, so don't bother jumping to light speed, just fucking get out of their reach, right? And that was actually a funny moment where she's like, dude, to be a leader, you have to think about things more pragmatically. You can't solve every problem by jumping in an X-Wing and blowing something up. And so the First Order shows up and starts shooting at them, and he's like, permission to jump in an X-Wing and blow stuff up. Granted, go. So then they're going to try and scramble the fucking fighters and get out there and fight. And then fucking, oh no, dude, I forgot. There was this fucking great scene. Great fucking scene with Kylo Ren, because this movie is just as much about Kylo Ren as it is about Finn, Poe, and Rey. He has a great character arc in this movie also. Again, all four of the main dudes, the main actors, have a great character arc. Not really Finn. Finn's the only one who was kind of not in this movie. But, instead, it went to Kylo Ren. And Kylo Ren's story, like, Snoke is like, dude, you let them escape to the military guy. The military guy, like, they got away from him, and Snoke's like, I'm very mad right now. Right? And so he's like, no, dude, I know what's up. I swear to God, we're tracking them through hyperspace. It's fine. But that was another detail about this movie that, like, started out with Snoke, but it kept carrying on. Like, you always kind of go, like, why the fuck? Not you, like, I go. You know, it's a thought that might occur, which is, why is it that the Sith or the Dark Jedi are always the ones in charge of this big evil military, right? All throughout Star Wars, you have the Emperor and Darth Vader in charge of the Empire. You have the Sith in charge of the Empire and the Old Republic. Like, in Star Wars, you always have the bad guys being led by a Dark Jedi, and you kind of go, like, why put up with this shit? Like, why do the fucking military guys who are being choked to death and being sent on these big fucking military invasions putting up with this shit? And then you're reminded every so often, like, because they can just fucking kill you and not even be in the same fucking room. Right? That's why. Like, holographic screen of Snoke comes up, and Haas is like, oh hey, what a BAM! On the floor. Like, just the Force suddenly BAM! On the floor. And he's like, I'm very disappointed in you right now. He's like, dude, I swear to God, it's fine, please. Like, it don't matter if you're a fucking Vice Admiral, Count, Bishop of the fucking big super evil military. This fucking guy can go like this, and you die. So yeah, they're in charge, okay? That is, again, that's something that's been explored in Star Wars media before, but there were a lot of moments in this movie where you're like, yeah, that's why. That's why you kind of gotta put up with it. Because there are so many moments of, like, the military guy being like, fuck you! Why are you in charge? And then, oh yeah, that's why, right? But anyway, so Snoke's being like, yeah, good job, yeah. And then Kylo Ren comes in behind him, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna talk to Kylo Ren now. And Kylo Ren's like, he's got the mask on. He's got his Kylo Ren mask on, talking to Snoke, and talking in that voice, like the vocalizer that he had in Force Awakens. And this is another reason why I think, like, the criticisms of Force Awakens were on their mind when they were making this movie. Because, like, he's talking to Snoke, and Snoke's like, take that ridiculous thing off your face. And he's like, he takes the helmet off. He's like, they're like, fuck you. I'm sick of that stupid helmet. And he's like, I thought you were gonna be Darth Vader 2.0, but you're just some kid in a mask. And it's like they knew what they were doing. That's so fun. Like, That is such a looking at the audience and going, yeah, I know what you were fucking thinking. I know you watched The Force Awakens and went, fuck this guy. He's not Darth Vader 2.0. He's just some punk kid in a stupid mask. Because they're idiots and didn't get that that was the point. The point of Kylo Ren was literally, I want to be Darth Vader, but I'm so lame. I want to be the cool bad guy, but I'm so lame. That was the point. Like, how did you not? So this movie really fucking has a character literally go, he wanted to be Darth Vader, but he's so lame. Do you get it yet? You fucking cynical idiot who thinks he's so fucking smart because you went, oh, it's just New Hope. It's just a remake of New Hope. Yeah, you're an idiot. How about that, you fucking moron? Do you get it yet? He thought he was Darth Vader, but he's not. He's some stupid punk kid in a mask. The character literally said, I thought you'd be Darth Vader, but you're just some kid in a mask. Idiots. So then he's in the fucking elevator with his mask going, and he has a temper tantrum and just smashes the mask to pieces. and you see the shot of the mask in pieces, and it's like, yeah, we're not gonna try and have him be Darth Vader anymore. We're not gonna be, oh, remember Darth Vader? Nope. Hey, that was the first moment of like, oh, they're doing this. Because you see Kylo Ren, and it's like, hey, remember Darth Vader? Nope. That was the first moment. He broke his fucking mask. He's like, I'm done pretending to be Darth Vader. I'm fucking Kylo Ren. I'm a new original, my own character. I'm gonna stop chasing that comparison. Right? I'm gonna subvert that expectation and go my own way as a character. Which is a fucking, like, obviously great thing to do. So it's like, get me my ship. And so he goes out and starts shooting at the Resistance fucking fleet. And he is a fucking badass pilot and is doing some fucking wicked shit. It was pretty fucking cool. Again, really great space battles that are really narrow in focus. Because he's like shooting at bitches, and he flies into the hangar bay and shoots a torpedo and blows up the hangar bay. And blows up all of the Resistance's ships. And blows up Poe's ship before he can even get into it. And so he gets knocked back by I always love how explosions in action movies don't really seem to actually kill anyone, they just knock them backwards. So he gets knocked back by the explosion, and there's a shot of his X-Wing in fucking ruins and on fire, and it's like, oh no, now your core strength as a character has been taken away. Guess you're gonna have to learn how to fucking develop as a character, right? And so then it cuts back to Kylo Ren in his ship, and he's like, I'm gonna blow up the fucking, like, command deck that all of the leaders of the Resistance are on. And the Force is depicted great in this fucking movie. Like, there's so much of, like, when characters use the Force, that's good. Right? Like, it's hard to describe. Like, in the earlier scene where he's like, you're just fucking Darth Vader in a mask, Kylo Ren gets up all mad and he's like, I'm gonna, like, how dare you sit, like, he gets all fucking pissed off, and Snoke just goes bzz, and like, boom, you're done. Like, he doesn't, like, it's not some big thing, he just goes beep and you're done. You're fucking dead. Like, you're fucking, get out of my face, you stupid kid. And it's like, because, again, I think back to the fucking prequels, and I think of fucking Count Dooku being like, I'm gonna cast Force Lightning at you, and big, stupid, purple CGI lightning flies out of his hand, and Obi-Wan just deflects the Force Lightning with his lightsaber. Look at the big bzoo, 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 bzoo. Oh no, bzoo, 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 bzoo. No, in this Snoke just goes, bang, you're done. You're fucking done. And, oh, that was so good. Like, again, Snoke is, like, so monstrously, like, deific. That is an appropriate word. Deific. In terms of power level and the way he uses the Force on motherfuckers. And so, as he's aiming for the command deck, Leia is on the command deck, and there's a connection through the Force. And he knows that his mom is on the command deck. And he's like, I'm gonna shoot. Because I don't care. Because I'm a bad guy. I'm just like Darth Vader. I don't need to have emotional connections to my parentage. I killed my dad, so I'm not going to kill my mom because I'm a cool evil guy. I can't do it. And like it keeps cutting back and forth between Leia and Kylo Ren. And he's like, I'm gonna do it. And she's like, Ben. Like, she doesn't say anything. There's no dialogue. It's all in their face. Great acting. But she's like, not with the words, and she doesn't actually shake her hand. I'm paraphrasing. And he goes, I can't do it. Like, he pulls aside, and then his 2 escort TIE fighters shoot the torpedoes instead. And he's like, oh! And then it cuts back to Leia, and she's like, oh, fuck. And the command deck gets blown up, and she gets blasted out into space. And it's like, oh, shit. They killed her way earlier than I thought they would. Like, I thought they were gonna kill Leia, but that was fast. They really fucking killed her right away. Like, oops, she's fucking dead now. And then, they're like, the plan is we gotta stay out of range of the Star Destroyer. They're still gonna shoot at us, but at least the fighters, the TIE fighters, can't pick us off one by one. Like, the plan is we're gonna try and slowly outpace them and have all our shields be in the rear so they'll keep shooting us, but it ain't gonna hurt us. And as long as we keep going and stay out of their range, then we can, barely be on the edge of safety. And so they get far enough away and the TIE fighters go back in. And then it cuts to Leia drifting through space. Like, her body in space, in the cold, harsh, dead vacuum of space. And then she goes, and starts fucking floating using the Force, going through space like, wee, back into the ship, into an airlock. And I'm like, what? That was a weird one. That was a weird moment. That's definitely part of the 1 to 5%. That was a weird little moment. Having Princess Leia, like Wicked Witch of the West, floating across the camera and ending up in the ship. That was... okay. Weird. That was a weird one. I don't really know. I don't know if I liked that part so much. That part kind of was weird to me. But anyway, she's back on the ship, but she's like comatose, so she was in the cold, harsh vacuum of space. Which, I mean, I've noticed that a lot lately. Actually, is fiction is running with the idea that you can kind of survive in the vacuum for a little bit. There's been a lot of media I've noticed lately. A lot of media that are like, yeah, you can be out there for like 30 seconds, I guess. Like, as long as you keep your eyes closed, you can sort of be out in space for maybe 30 seconds maximum before your blood burn freezes to death, right? Seriously, there's been a lot of that lately. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I guess the writers at The Last Jedi read somewhere that if you're in the cold, harsh vacuum of space, you're kind of okay. I mean, you can't breathe, and there's no oxygen, but as long as you fucking aren't out there for too long, I guess it'll be okay. Like, weird thing to have in Star Wars, but again, Star Wars is a space fantasy. It's Star Trek, that's science fiction. Star Wars is space fantasy. I mean, that I did notice that at first in the big battle scene right at the beginning of the movie, when they opened the bay of the bomber, a guy was just fucking there. Like, on a catwalk. Like, they opened the bomber doors, and it was just open space. Like, the vacuum of space underneath his fucking feet. And it's like, whatever. World War II. Okay, it's Star Wars. I mean, space doesn't have to work that way in Star Wars. Okay, whatever. She made it back in the ship using the Force, which she can do now, I guess. Wicked Witch of the West. That's all that was going through my head. My pretty. Again, that was a weird one. Anyway, she's comatose. And they're like, okay, what are we gonna do? And this new there was a weird kind of overimportance to this new character, like taking the reins of the rebellion while General Organa was in a coma. And like, it's this actress I'm sure I've seen before. Anyway, she's like, I'm in charge now, so we're gonna do stuff. And she's got pink hair for some reason, but she's this old lady, I guess. And she's like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just stay the course. We have to survive. What's our plan? To not die yet. As long as we don't die right now, we're doing okay. And Poe, being the big hothead, is like, what's the plan? What are we gonna do? What's the thing we're gonna do? And she's like, shut the fuck up. I'm in charge. Stuff your dick back in your pants and get the fuck out of my face. And he's like, and she's like, nah. Like, there's a time and a place for hot shot off the seat, like ace pilot, like Maverick shenanigans, and that time is not now. So you gotta fucking shove your dick back in your pants. And Finn, during all this, is being like, I gotta go save Rey. So, like, Leia had this little, like, marker beacon that Rey also had, so that she would know where the Rebel fleet is and rejoin with them later once she got Luke. And so Finn's got that, and he's like, this fucking place is done. This fucking fleet is over. I'm gonna go. Because I gotta protect Rey. That's all I care about. I don't give a shit about the rebellion. All I care about is saving Rey. So he's like, I'm gonna take this beacon. I'm gonna get away from the fleet because this fleet's gonna fucking die. And where the fuck is Rey gonna go if this fleet is dead, right? So he's like, I'm getting out of here. And this new dumb character I don't like and I hope doesn't show up again because it's such a dumb character. I mean, there's nothing. Again, there's the writing is fine, and the actor did her job. She read the lines, and she did the acting, and it's fine, but I don't like that this character exists, right? So, like, there's nothing wrong with this character, but I just don't like this character. So she's, like, crying because apparently, like, she's got the same necklace that the chick in the bombing ship had at the beginning. And she's like, oh, I guess that was her sister, because they've got the same necklace, and she's crying, so I guess her sister died or whatever, and I still don't care. And so Finn's like, I'm gonna take this escape pod and get out of here. And she's like, oh, hey, it's Finn, you're cool, I like you, because you're the guy from the first movie. And he's like, yeah, I guess, okay, go away now. And she's like, oh, dude, you're so cool. I've had to zap 3 people for trying to escape, or like trying to desert already. And he's like, oh, okay, how about that? And she's like, why is there a full bag in this escape pod that you're standing in front of? Zap. And so she's like, I'm gonna take you to the brig and turn you in for a traitor. And he's like, I'm not, like, deserting. I want to not have Rey come back to a fucking floating debris of rubble in space, you idiot. And she's like, I don't care. And he's like, they're tracking us through hyperspace, so we're fucked. And she's like, they're tracking us through hyperspace? Huh, tech. And he's like, tech. And she's like, tech. So, like, they come up with a plan to get onto the First Order ship and disable the tracking device that they have. are using to track the fleet with so that they can hyperspace jump away and not be tracked and escape to safety. And I'm saving you a lot of time because they spend way too long coming up with this plan, especially considering nothing comes of the plan. I mean, it contributes to Poe's character, but that's a big reason. I just realized why why Finn's storyline doesn't work, is because ultimately all it does is contribute to Poe's storyline, and nothing comes of it on its own. They spend way too fucking long on this storyline that ultimately results in nothing, really, except for character development tangentially for another character. So anyway, Finn and character I hate, with a dumb name, Rose. Yeah, a character in Star Wars is named Rose, because that's stupid. They're like, okay, we're gonna go and, like, we can disable the tracking device, but we need a cool hacker. And so they call Maz from Force Awakens to be like, hey, you know a hacker who can help us? And she's like, yeah, I know a hacker. You got to go to this planet and find him, and he'll help you. And I'm like, this is a mistake. Like, this storyline is not a good thing you should be doing right now. It's so weird to have, like, when they come back, it's pretty cool. But they're like, okay, we're gonna go to this Las Vegas planet to find this hacker so that we can hack the ship. And okay, so that's when the movie diverts into three different storylines, because we have Poe on the Rebel fleet, and then we have Finn and Shitty character going to Las Vegas to find a hacker. And there were some good humorous moments in that storyline, and then you have Rey with Luke, and Kylo Ren's storyline is tied into that. So you have three storylines, and you didn't need this one. You could easily have cut that storyline down significantly. There were some good moments there. There were some good funny lines. There were some good funny moments. And there were some good moments of, like, moral ambiguity in there as well, like thematic exploration. But ultimately, this storyline contributed the least, detracted the most, and you really needed less of this storyline in this movie. Like, first of all, the idea of we're gonna, like, get away from the fleet and go to this extraneous other planet to get a hacker and bring him back with us, that entire concept rubbed me the wrong way right off the bat. I mean, you set up this idea of the fleet is, like, in a desperate bid for survival, barely clinging on to life as they slowly, it's like, imagine a mouse running from a cat, but the cat is, like, batting at the tip of its tail the entire way. And the cat is full of stamina and energy, and their bowl of water is full. The mouse hasn't had a drink in days, and they're getting tired, and they're running down. And, like, the sheer, like, attrition, the stress of that storyline is the strength. And so having two fucking characters just leave that storyline and go to Space Vegas to find a hacker is fucking stupid. Like, conceptually, the idea of we're just gonna go, good luck with that, fuck you, that's dumb. And then, like, the things they do, like, so it diverts into three storylines. So I'm going to tackle each storyline on its own instead of chronologically, because the movie keeps jumping between storylines until they all diverge back into one at the end, which is what you should do. Like, it goes, it starts out with the Rebel fleet and Rey, and then they leave the Rebel fleet, and those three storylines go, and then they diverge at the end. So I'm going to talk about each storyline just by itself. and then meet back at the end. So the storyline I don't like is they go to Space Vegas, and there's some good moments there. I'll talk about the good moments. There was some good comedy with BB-8, where like they're going through Space Vegas and people are like playing cards and dice and slot machines, and some drunk guy puts coins in BB-8 thinking he's a slot machine, and so later in the scene BB-8's rolling around and you hear the coins inside his body shaking around, and that's actually really funny. And then that gets reincorporated later where they're being chased by guards and BB-8 shoots the coins at the guards to knock them out, and that's really fucking funny. Uh, so, like, they're going through Space Vegas, and the character I hate is like, this is the worst place, wretched hive of scum and villainy. She doesn't say that, but that's what they're alluding to. And he's like, great. And then it cuts to the planet, and it's big, like, Space Vegas. It's a bunch of rich, affluent people in stupid outfits having champagne and gambling and like in a really classy James Bond casino. And he's like, why do you hate this place? And she's like, do you know why they got this rich? Because they sell weapons to the First Order, right? They're all profiting off of the war, right? And it's like, aw, shit, son. Like, they're all rich. Like, this is actually a good scene to have conceptually in a Star Wars movie, because the Star Wars story is always about the underdog, the scrappy rebels versus the big bad empire. You don't really see what life is like outside of that conflict. You don't really see what it's like for the people who aren't involved. And so it's good to have this moment where like the big bad empire has all their big bad shit. Here's the rich 1% assholes who made that shit and sold it to them and profited on that. That's a cool idea conceptually. But like, just how it's done, I wasn't big on it. Wasn't big on how it's on that aspect. And so then they find the hacker guy, but they get arrested for illegal parking, which was fucking hilarious. And thrown into the jail, and like they allude to these, like they go to a track. Oh my god, I was like terrified for a second because there's this big rumble throughout the casino, and he's like, what's that? And it's like over here to this racetrack, and I'm like, is it fucking pod racing? Is there fucking pod racing in this movie? But no, it was like horse racing. Like there's these big furry animals and they're horses, and it's jockeys racing around a racetrack. So I was like, oh my god, I thought it was gonna be pod racing. And so, like, they look through binoculars and see that they're using these stun rods to make the horses go faster and whipping them. And there's these little stable boy children, and they're whipping them. And it's like, aw, they're evil after all. So then they get arrested and thrown in jail. And while they're in jail, they're like, okay, we gotta find our hacker and get out of here. And then there's another guy who's in the cell with them also. And I didn't like this character either, by the way. He was a dumb character. I liked some of the things he did and some of the things that were involved with him, but I did not like this character. Again, there was nothing wrong with the actor. He read the lines, but I didn't like this character at all. Literally, this whole, like, Finn's whole storyline, I felt so bad for him. I like Finn as a character. He's a rich character. There's stuff there. But for some reason, Finn as a character was sacrificed to have a storyline with two fucking new characters that I fucking hated. It was really weird and disappointing in that aspect for Finn. Where, like, that storyline was about Rose and about this hacker guy who I literally don't even remember his name. And I didn't like either of them. So anyway, so he's like, I can hack you into that First Order. And they're like, you're weird. Okay, bye. And he's like, okay, whatever you say. And he hacks his way out of the jail cell. And he's like, okay, bye. And they're like, and so they escape. And they And that is what led to BB-8 shooting the coins at people because he broke into the prison to save them, and he runs into the hacker guy, and so him and BB-8 have a little like go off in this direction, and Finn and the character I hate end up in the stables, and they like interact with the animals, and she's like, oh wow, the big animals, I've never seen them up close. And there's the little stable boys, and she's like, we're part of the rebellion, like, can you help us? And they open up the stable doors and let the big dumb horse animals run free, and the stable boy is like, go 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 go, woo. And I'm like, why are you spending so much time on this bullshit that I don't care about and is stupid? Like, it's so dumb. This big dumb fucking thing with the fucking horses. And why are these children in the movie? And I hate the children, and I don't care about the horses. They had a fun little chase scene with the horses going through Vegas and jumping on shit and knocking stuff over, and it was all practical. Well, the horses were like CG, but there was practical effects going on there. And like, that's a fun chase, but like, man, I just did not care. I did not, and like, throughout all of this, Finn has his little moments where it's like, hey, I like you, Finn. I like you as a character. Kind of wish this storyline was about you instead, but no. Like, they're running on the beach to get to their ship, and he's like, yeah, there's their ship, and then they blow it up, and he goes, oh, come on! Like, that was a great Finn moment, but, And so then they're running, and they almost end up falling over a cliff. But they don't, and so so they're like, okay, well, nothing came of that. Our ship got blown up, so we can't go back home, and we didn't get the hacker, but it was worth it to get to bust up evil arms dealer rich people Las Vegas. Like, it was worth it to say fuck you to those assholes, right? And then Rosa like takes the saddle off of the horse thing and sends it away, and she's like, now it's worth it. And I'm like, I hate you as a character. I hate that you exist in this movie. But like, the thematic overtones to that is Finn is fueled by like anger and just like, I hate the First Order and I want to blow them up, whereas Rosa is like killing the bad guy is not what makes it worth it. Saving the people that you care about is what makes it worth it. And that's their storyline. And I hate fucking Rosa, and Rose, whatever her name, I hate that character. God damn it. Anyway. So then the hacker prison guy shows up in his ship with BB-8, and they get on and go off with him. And I didn't like this character either, but he had a pretty good moment where he's like, I'll do whatever you want as long as you pay me. Like, kind of the other side, like, kind of the other half of Han Solo, where Han Solo was a rogue with a heart of gold, where he just wanted to get paid, but when the chips were down, he showed up when the heroes needed him. This guy was like, just pay me. Guess what? The First Order paid me more. That's what ends up coming up with his character. He's like, I'll help you out. I'll help take down the First Order, as long as you pay me. So he's like, you gotta give me like a collateral, like give me some payment in advance before I will come along with you. And he's like, that necklace is made of some valuable gold or whatever, like the necklace of her sister. And he's like, and Finn's like, no, fuck you. And she just takes it off and gives it to him, which is a cool little moment for her. And he's like, yeah, I got my payment, now I can help you. And so then he goes into the back with Finn, and Finn's like, you know, at least, like, you might be a scumbag rogue, but at least you're helping the good guys and you're killing the bad guys and helping beat the bad guys now. And he's like, let me sit your ass down for a second, okay? I know to you this is a big deal, but to people like me who exist outside of the conflict, it's just one army fighting another army. Like, it doesn't matter to us, to the people living in the fucking streets on the ground. Who wins this war doesn't matter. And he's like, look at these big arms dealer rich guys that you hate so much for being rich living in Vegas. Oh yeah, they sold weapons to the First Order. Then he pulls up some other records like, looks like they sold some weapons to the Resistance too. These guys built the TIE fighters and they built the X-Wings. It's all machines and nothing is for free. You know? Some of us out here, we aren't trying to save the galaxy. Some of us are just looking out for number one. We just want to get paid. That's all it comes down to. And I liked that. I liked that speech. Get rid of this character now. And he says something later where, again, he betrays them and sells out to the First Order because they can pay him more. And he's like, you know what, like, they're like, you betrayed us, you murder. And he's like, whatever, they blow you up today, you blow them up tomorrow. What's the big deal? Like, that's the other side of the Han Solo archetype of, I literally only care about the money. I don't care about your rebellion. I ain't in this for your rebellion, I'm in it for the money, but actually he's only in it for the money. So again, conceptually, I like that. Fuck this character. Not because he's not a good character, but because fuck this character. Anyway, so they've got him, and they go back to the ship, and they're going to do their thing on the ship to disable the thing. And so that ties back into Poe's storyline, because Poe is on the fleet. This is a shorter one. Because it's just kind of the same thing over and over, where he's back on the fleet, and he's like, no, I'm a hothead ace pilot cockpit jockey, and I think we gotta do the thing. And, like, the new leader who replaced Leia is always sitting there being like, dude, like, you gotta slow your roll. That's what Poe's storyline is learning. Like, he is a big damn hero guy who wants to blow the thing up. And he has to learn, like, to be a leader, you have to, like, think big picture. You can't just go, oh, we're gonna go blow up the bad guy. Sometimes you gotta, like, run away to win, right? He's like, no, there's the bad guy, I gotta go blow him up. No. Sometimes that's not what the right decision is to do. But no, I can go blow them up, though. No. Calm down. No! Like, it's kind of just over and over where Poe's like, no, you're a bad leader, I want to go blow things up. And she's like, calm the fuck down, you idiot. And you kind of sympathize with Poe, but also you're like, you're not right either. Because they're barely staying out of arm's reach, but they're running out of fuel. Like, they've got 16 hours worth of fuel, they got 6 hours worth of fuel, and it's like this small fleet of the main big ship, and then like 2 support ships. And then one of the support ships runs out of fuel, and it evacuates all of its supplies and people onto the main ship, and then it falls back and just gets blown up, and the Empire is like, ha ha ha, and the First Order is like, ha ha ha. You know, battle of attrition, all we have to do is last longer than their fuel reserves, and we're gonna last longer than their fuel reserves. And Poe's like, this is our plan? Like, we're gonna die. Like, holy shit. You know, we can only run so long before we run out of fuel. And then it gets to the point where the other support ship runs out of fuel and the same thing happens, and then he comes in and she's fueling up their escape ships. And they're gonna evacuate the main ship onto all these little support transport vehicles. And he's like, dude, like, I have a plan. And he's like, here's, like Finn and Stupid Bitch went to get a hacker, and they're gonna sneak on the big ship and turn off the tracking device. Like, we can escape. Like, if you put us on these transport ships, they don't have shields. They're gonna kill us. And she's like, you don't know fucking anything? Shut up. I'm in command. get out of my face. And again, you sympathize with Poe because you think, yeah, they have a plan. They have a desperate plan, but it's gonna work because they're the heroes, and she's throwing their lives away by not believing in his plan. And so when Finn and the hacker and her and Rose, whatever, shows back up and sneaks onto the ship, they're loading up the fucking escape transports and getting out of there, and Poe's like, just give them a little bit more time. She's like, we don't have time. We gotta go. Like, we gotta get everyone off here. Your plan's stupid. We gotta get out. Like, get everyone on the ships and escape this vehicle. And he's like, yeah, that's what I thought you said. Bam! Military coup. I'm taking over. He and his, like, X-Wing squadron buddies pull a fucking coup on the leader lady, and like, we're gonna do my desperate hot-headed plan and save the day. Yeah. And so he runs up there and he's like, don't let anyone escape if they, because his mentality is, this big ship has shields. All we need to do is turn off that tracking device and then gun it to light speed, right? And she's like, no, like, all we gotta do is survive. Like, that's not gonna work. We're gonna evacuate this main ship in our transports. And he's like, dude, those don't have shields. Like, we're all gonna die in that shit. So it's an interesting, like, two-way there. Because he's putting everyone's life at risk, not letting anyone evacuate the ship, because he's like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna turn off the thing, and then we can gun it to light speed. And so he's sitting there in the cockpit helm of the ship, being like, we're gonna gun it to light speed. The instant Finn says we're good to go, we're gonna gun it to light speed. And, like, his other X-Wing jockeys, like, get overpowered, and the coup doesn't work, and the leadership goes to the steering wheel area of the big ship, and he's like, no, just a little bit longer. And Finn and the other two characters are sneaking through, but they get noticed and also betrayed by the hacker guy. So they like BB-8's running around, and again, BB-8's really funny. Like, they put a trash can over him and have him run around, and he's like knocking over people and just being an asshole, and it's great. But then an evil droid notices him and like sets up an ambush. So the hacker guy gets them into the room where the tracking device is, but then boom, a whole bunch of First Order soldiers come out and be like, no, we got you, hands on your head, get down. The plan has failed. The big hero protagonist plan of put all your chips on red, like do or die scenario plan, has failed. The, no, it's fine, we just need to use our bomber to blow up the dreadnought plan didn't work. And now, like, everyone's life has been thrown in the garbage because of Poe's hot-headed joy cockpit decisions. Of, like, I'm gonna perform a coup because our plan's gonna work. And it cuts back to him and he's like, they didn't make it. And the door breaks down, and it's Leia, and she's like, you fucking idiot, shoots him with the stun, and he's, like, put on a gurney and reeled into the escape transport, and they're like, he's such a fucking idiot. I like him. Me too. That's, like, you need someone like that, but you gotta learn. You gotta temper that steel, big guy. And so they're getting on the transport ships to get out of there. And so over in Rey, actually, they're still kind of divergent. Like, Rey's storyline is really on its own track. Oh my god, my throat. And so when Poe wakes up on the transport ship, so, like, the main ship has been completely evacuated, and everyone's out on the story I hate is over, by the way. That storyline with them going to Vegas sucked. That's done. The rest of it's gold. Like, they're gonna be they have been caught. The hacker betrayed them, and they're gonna be executed. And he's like, "Oh, you act like you murderer. They blow you up today, you blow them up tomorrow. You're wrong. Maybe. Bye." And he just takes his payday and fucking leaves. And Phasma is like, "We're gonna kill these fucking guys." Because Finn used to be part of the First Order, but he defected, so everyone's like, "Fuck you, traitor," right? Which is great. And as they're on the transport ships, escaping the big main ship, Poe wakes up and Leia's like, "Okay, idiot. Our plan was that planet over there that we're flying towards has a rebel base on it, and it has a whole bunch of guns and shit, and we're gonna hole up there and send out a SOS message and tell all our allies that we need help, and they're gonna come help us. Okay?" And the Star Destroyers aren't tracking little transport vessels like what we're in. It's tracking the big ship. So we're gonna escape quietly in these transport ships that they can't see and don't know about, and continue chasing the big Mamma Jamma ship, and once that runs out of fuel and gets blown up, we're just gonna huddle down on this planet until they pass over and have all our allies come and help us gear back up. And Poe's like, "Oh, that's a really good plan. I'm a fucking idiot." And he's like, "Why didn't she just tell me that?" And Leia's like, "It's a need to know basis, right? Like, they were tracking them through hyperspace, for crying out loud. You can't just tell everyone the plan and risk that getting out too. You risk them finding out about the fucking escape transport ships, right? So like your job is to follow orders, dude, and you're a hotshot asshole, and he didn't, and he put the entire plan at risk. And the plan was good, and you gotta learn how to be a leader, not a hero. We don't need heroes, we need leaders. She wasn't interested in being a hero, she was interested in following the fucking plan. And again, because of Poe and his hotshot arrogance, the only reason, like, the First Order finds out about the transport ships and finds out that it's just a distraction and they're going to the planet and the big main vessel is empty, because of the hacker boy who betrayed Finn and Rose and told the First Order about the fucking transport ships. So once again, Poe, in his recklessness and his like 99 to 1 odd like plan of, "Oh, we're the big protagonists and we're gonna do the risky plan but we'll win," ends up getting people killed and putting the entire operation at risk. Good job, you goddamn idiot. And it's only because of the asshole commander that you think, "Oh no, you're leading us to our death," pulling off a hero moment, that they survive at all. Because the transports are slowly fleeing, and the hacker told the First Order that the transport ships exist. So they're like, "Start shooting the transports. Oh, we're gonna blow up the transports. Ha ha ha, fuck you, transports." And they're like, "Oh shit, we're helpless. We don't have shields. We can't go any faster. We're gonna get fucked." So then the big Mamma Jamma lead ship that the commander who replaced Leia stayed behind on to pilot as like a diversionary suicide mission, she starts turning the ship around and firing up the light speed engines. And it cuts to the First Order, and they're like, "Yo, the big ship's gearing up its light speed and it's gonna escape." And he's like, "It's a diversion. Like, it's empty. Fuck them. Keep shooting the transports." And so then she keeps turning the ship until the ship is pointed at the Star Destroyers. And I'm sitting there going like, "Oh my god, she is not." And the First Order people go, "Oh, fuck, shoot it, 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 shoot it." And then she fucking punches it to light speed. right through the fucking Star Destroyers. And it's... Oh, that was such a great moment. That was such a good fucking moment. Oh, like fucking 0 to faster than light. Like, you're here. Imagine something going faster than the speed of light directly through you. You don't exist anymore. You have been ripped in half. You're just fucking done. That ship, like the Star Destroyer ship, gets fucking like just. Like, I can't even describe it. Like, the visual that that moment creates is awe-inspiring. It was a great fuck. Like, seriously, again, the visuals of the ship going to light speed through a fleet of Star Destroyers was like taking a photograph of lightning right as it hits the ground. It looked so fucking cool. You know, sometimes you need a little bit of hotshot hero in your leadership, but you gotta temper it with pragmatism, and we gotta do what will save lives first, right? So, because that shit got obliterated, the transports are able to make it down to the ship, to the planet. And Finn and stupid Rose Finn gets a cool fight. Like, the moment they get on that ship, it starts being Finn's story again, which is nice. So Finn has a great fight against Phasma, who is such a wasted character. Why did you even have this character exist in the first place? Like, Captain Action Figure walking around, doing fucking nothing, showing up for one scene per movie. And she gets a cool fight with Finn. Finn's like, before we escape this burning ship that just got blown the fuck up, I'ma settle some shit. And he gets in a cool fight with Phasma. And he fucking bashes her face, and she's like, "You were always scum." And he's like, "Rebel scum." And you're like, yeah, I like this character. I like Finn. I like his actor. This is great. And BB-8 has a cool moment where he hijacks an AT-ST and starts shooting the First Order, and the head of the AT-ST gets ripped off, and it's just BB-8 in the cockpit shooting people. That's a great moment too. This movie was great. And so they get on that AT-ST and go for a shuttle and get the fuck out of that ship before it blows up. And then they go down to the planet, and I'll leave the planet for the end, because we gotta go back to Rey's story. So Rey is on the planet with Luke getting trained. His method of training, which is, the Force ain't a big deal and the Jedi suck. Basically, he's like, I'll teach you 3 lessons. 3 lessons of why the Jedi Order needs to die. There's some... Again, it ties into how the Force is depicted in this movie. So, like, that was the military, the scrappy underdog French resistance fighting the big bad German Empire. Man, like, they're just Nazis. Like, the First Order are just Nazis. It's great. That's the military, and then Rey's and Luke's and Kylo Ren's storyline is the Force. The Force part of the Star Wars universe. Ooh, I'm really going through the whole movie. So, Luke's first lesson is, come over here, sit down on this cool rock, and try and meditate. And reach out to the Force, right? And, again, this is that expectation, moment where it's like, you think, oh, he's gonna train her with that special Jedi connection to the Force that only Jedi have, because the midichlorian count was really high. Oh, it hurts. It hurts so much. Anyway, they didn't actually say that in this movie. That's a joke. Anyway, So you think like, oh, you're so badass with the Force. No, because the point of Luke's lesson, great joke in this scene, by the way, is she's like sitting there meditating, clearing her mind, and he's like, now reach out. And she goes like this. And he's like, and he takes a little leaf he had, and he like brushes her fingers with the leaf, and she's like, oh, I feel something. And he's like, really, you feel that? And he's like, oh, I feel something I've never felt before. Wow, that's the Force. You're feeling the Force. You must be so strong in the Force. And she's like, oh my goodness. And he like fucking hits her in the face like, you fucking idiot. Again, expectation, nope. You think, oh, she's so strong with the Force, and he even has he literally says, wow, you must have such a connection to the Force. You're so special and awesome. I've never seen this before. Idiot. What are you, a fucking moron? That's not how the Force works. Shut up. So great. So the actual lesson is, what's the Force? It's not a special magic ability that only space wizards have access to. Jedi aren't special. They're not special magic wizards who all are able to tap into, like, mana. Like, it's not fucking magic. The Force exists in all things. It is this mystical energy that binds the universe together. In between the rise of new life and the end of old life, in between the heat of the sun and the cold of the ocean, in between life and death and everything in between, is the Force. The Force is the energy that binds the universe together. The Force is the glue that connects all of us to each other in this grand, like, shape of existence. It's not magic. It's not fate. It's not this guiding influence. It's just the thing that is, right? Like, what is between it all? An energy, a force, you know? That subliminal thing, that connection, that moment of unity, of togetherness. Yeah, all things are connected. That's the Force. And again, that was a great moment where he was like, that is why the Jedi aren't special. Anyone can tap into that energy. It's the same as Zen. It's really the same, like, in our own existence. We have people who seclude themselves from the material world and dedicate themselves to a discipline. You have Shaolin monks who train their mind and body to be able to do things that normal people wouldn't be able to do, but anyone can do if they're dedicated enough to train and practice and tap into that latent ability that all of us have. Anyone can punch through 5 wooden boards if they're willing to train their mind and body and, like, tap into that Zen state that, like, Shaolin monks can, like, just get hit in the shins every single fucking day and just be fine with it and do, like, fucking acrobatics and punch through fucking concrete and shit. Anyone can do that. But most people don't. 99% of people don't do that. But anyone could. That's why the Jedi aren't special. Because they're just that 1% who do dedicate and train themselves with that discipline. Anyone could do it. The Force exists in all things. It's fine. Okay? The idea that the Jedi are important and the galaxy needs the Jedi, that's arrogance. You know, there's nothing special about the Jedi. In fact, in many ways, the Jedi are restricted by their dogma. By the teachings of the Jedi become chains that bind them from being able to, you know, actually do good in the world. But then, like, Rey is like, yo, dude, yo, there's also some wicked dark side here. He's like, yeah, that's the balance. This is a place of great light and a place of great dark, because you need that balance. She's like, yo, but dude, there's some wicked dark side here. And he's like, Rey, come on back, honey. Like, resist that shit. Let's step back from the edge here. And she's looking down, being like, yo, I'm staring into the abyss, dog. And Luke's like, don't stare into the abyss, it'll stare back. It'll stare back, bitch. And like, finally, like, she, like, breaks out of it and is like, what the fuck? And he's like, you're fucking scary. You didn't even try. You didn't even try to resist that shit. Like, fuck this. And she's like, dude. And he's like, no. Like, I've seen this before. In fucking Ben Solo. I wasn't afraid enough of it then. I'm afraid of it now. I ain't tangling with this shit. You're fucked up. So, like, after that, something interesting starts to happen. Where Rey and Kylo Ren start connecting to each other through the Force. And again, the way this is depicted is awesome in how little of it is actually, like, it's not literal. Like, the camera is following the character. Like, it's hard to describe, but, like, the way the prequels would do it, basically. The way a lesser movie would depict this, that's not how it's depicted. It shows the two of them seeing and communicating with each other physically through the Force, but in different locations. Like, he's on the big ship while, like, the things with the fleet are happening, and she's on the planet, but they are in the same room together and seeing each other and talking to each other. And at first, they're very antagonistic about it, obviously, because he's an evil asshole who killed someone she cared about, and she doesn't want to deal with that shit. But, like, it's really interesting. Anyway, so, like, they start forging a connection to each other. Because she's like, you're a dick. You fucking killed Han Solo. I hate you. Fuck off. And he's, like, Kylo Ren is funny because he's, like, interested in, like, the mechanics of it. Because at first, he's like, can you see my surroundings? I only see you. I don't see where you are. Like, he's trying to figure out how this works. What's going on here? And she's like, fuck you. I hate you. Suck my dick. Get on my face. And that keeps happening throughout their storyline. But it starts out with him being like... It starts out with her rejecting it and him trying to understand it. And so, like, she actually... What's funny is when it first happens and, like, they're in the room with each other, but not physically, and the way the camera, like, depicts the editing... Again, the opening of this movie, editing, really weird, but, like, this is edited really well. Like, she pulls out her gun and tries to shoot him, and he, like... Oh. But he's not there, obviously. He doesn't actually get shot. So it's a fun little moment, but she did shoot her gun, and it kind of blew up the fucking wall of the house she was in. And there's these funny moments of, like, the creatures that take care of the island are like, you fucking bitch. Why'd you do that? And Luke's like, what's wrong with you? Come on, let's get out of here. Like, I got another lesson for you. I'm trying to remember. Right, the second lesson is why she doesn't need him. Because they can't, like, she was sent to find him because they need Jedi Master Luke Skywalker to fight off the First Order, otherwise the Resistance is doomed. And he's like, no you don't. Like, I'm not, like, I'm a failure. You know, the idea that the good guys need the Jedi to fight with them is wrong. Like, the Jedi are idiots. We fucked up constantly throughout history. The Jedi, at the height of their power, allowed allowed Darth Sidious to become Emperor and take over with the Empire. The Jedi created Darth Vader. And she's like, yeah, but you redeemed him. And he's like, you don't, like, yeah, I redeemed Darth Vader. I became a legend. Look upon my glory, right? Like, I'm nothing special. You know, you know, fucking Kylo Ren? Oh, he's so strong in the dark side and he's gonna defeat the fucking Resistance. I created him. You know, he exists because of my failure. You don't need the Jedi, you don't need me. The Jedi fucking suck, and I'm the worst one. You know, he's like, in my arrogance, I thought, I can train a new generation of Jedi. I can take this untapped potential in Ben Solo and train him to become a great Jedi. And I failed. And he turned to evil and burned my shit down and was a dick. And, like, it's like, Luke's like, it's fucking my fault. I fucked up. I created Kylo Ren. I am the source of this bad thing that you came to get me for. I can't solve this. I can't save you. I'm the reason this happened in the first place. You don't need me. You don't need the Jedi to save the day. You know, like, that's arrogance. That's hubris to think, oh, the Jedi are needed to defeat the big bad guy. You know, I let Ben Solo down and created Kylo Ren. And that same potential in him, I also see in you. So guess what? I'm not gonna train you and fuck up again and have you turn to the dark side also, just like he did. Because, like, I already fucked up once, so I'm done. And she's like, dude, you didn't fail him, he failed you, and I won't. And walks out, and he's like, you didn't fucking learn my shit, stupid bitch. But then, like, they have like, her and Kylo Ren have another talk. And she's like, you are an asshole, you piece of shit, you killed your dad. And he's like, well, at first, like, she keeps calling him she just keeps insulting him and calling him a monster. And he's like, yeah. And he's crying because he's in conflict. He wants to be a big, cool, bad, evil guy, but he has this conflict of, I'm not 100% evil. That's the other driving thing about this movie, is the idea of the dark side corrupting you wholly and inescapably and completely. Oh, he has been lost to the dark side of the Force. Luke and Snoke both have that mentality of, either you're a good guy and you're part of the light side of the Force, or you're a bad guy and you're part of the dark side of the Force. And Luke's going, I fucked up and he fell to the dark side. And Snoke's going, yeah, you're being corrupted by the dark side. You need to resist the, like, corruption of the light side. And in him, he has both. He has the hate and anger and fear, but he also has the connection and love and emotion of his familiar connections. And he hates himself for what he did. He hates himself for killing Han Solo. He agrees, yeah, I'm a monster. He's crying, like, fuck. You know, that is the conflict with his characters. He's has this ideal image of what a bad guy should be, and he thinks he's a failure because he's not living up to it, and he's mourning how he has lost himself to that corruption and influence of the dark side at the same time. And she's starting to come around to realize, no, he's not 100% an evil bad guy. There is still a person there, you know? And once that barrier is broken down, where, like, the dehumanization of, no, you're just the bad guy, shut up, that gets broken away when he's like, yeah, I'm an asshole and I hate myself too. And so finally, like, they can actually start communicating with each other, and he's like, and he's like, why do you hate me so much? And she's like, 'cause you fucking, and he's like, say it. Say it. Like, she's in denial, like, she won't allow herself to say it. And she's like, you fucking killed your dad. Your dad loved you. He gave a damn about you. There's a weird amount of swearing in this movie, by the way. Your father gave a damn about you when you fucking killed him. And he's like, and that is why you hate me so much. Because I had what you didn't have and I rejected it. Because you long for your parents and you're like, that's your failing. Like, you want there to be some, like, you're desperately reaching out for some parental connection. And that is the reason you hate me. Not because I'm a bad guy who's corrupted by the dark side and killed my dad. You're mad because, from your perception, I have what you didn't and I threw it away. That's what it is. It's jealousy, when you get right down to it. And, like, a perception of, oh, you're not grateful for something that I didn't have. She's defining herself by her lack of a parental figure and her desire for one. He's like, you didn't have parents, so you look for it everywhere you go. You look for it in Han Solo, you look for a Luke Skywalker. You don't need them. You don't need that shit. You can just be your own person. You don't have to cling to the past. You don't have to cling to these figures of authority. You can just be your own person. Like me. Even though he's hardly... It's two imperfect, dumb children who don't know their place in life, desperately flailing around in their own insecurities and inadequacies of each other, starting to, like, have a connect, starting to, like, see what they have in common and try and find that lack and fill it with each other. So after that, she's like, fuck this, I'm gonna go down into that fucking abyss that the dark side was in and check out what's going on down there. Oh, and there was also a scene with her training with the lightsaber, which was kind of fun. It resulted in a fun joke. Like, I'm trying to remember everything that happened in this movie. It's like, I just saw it, but this was a long movie, and some things kind of like blur out of focus. But that scene with her going down into the deep, dark side pit and going up to this bit. The theater I saw it in sucks, by the way. Like, whenever the screen is too dark, you can't fucking see anything because the screen is fucking terrible. So she's in the deep, dark side pit that you can't see anything on because our theater was terrible. And it's so fucking dark. But anyway, she goes up to this wall and it's a big fucked up mirror. And she touches the mirror and has a really fucked up vision. And again, it's calling back to Empire. It's calling back to Empire Strikes Back, where instead of Luke learning from Yoda on Dagobah, it's her learning from Luke on this island. And just like Luke went into the cave and had the dark side vision there, Rey is having the vision with the mirror. And the mirror is like... It was really well done and really interesting and symbolic, but like the end of it is... She wants to know who her parents are and gets no answer. And in that moment, like, she kind of knows the truth at that point. But it doesn't come out and get spelled out until later. So, like, after or in between that, somewhere, at some point during the storyline, Kylo Ren's like, why, like, she's like, why did you betray Luke? And he's like, did he tell you what happened? And she's like, she keeps going, why'd you betray Luke? And he keeps going, did he tell you what happened? And so that's when he told her about, like, I went to visit him one night, but he gave into the temptation of the dark side and burned my shit and burned down my temple and stuff. And he's like, that's not really what happened, dude. Like, I was his student, I was learning from him, and one night I look up from where I was sleeping, and he's standing over me with a lightsaber ready to fucking kill me. And yeah, I turned to the dark side because the light side fucking rejected me, is what happened. Luke tried to fucking kill me. Go fuck yourself, right? And so now she's got that floating around in her head, and is starting to be distrustful of Luke a little bit. And then they have a scene where they physically connect and touch each other. Where she's like, dude, I sense the conflict in you. You don't have, it doesn't have to be this way. You can come back. Like, just let me save you. If you want to, I can save you. I can take you away from here. So lonely inside, so busy out there, when all you wanted was somebody who cares. But like the Star Wars version of that. And so, like, there's again, a great scene where they physically reach out and touch each other despite not being in the same room, right? And then Luke comes in and he's like, no. Because he thinks, shit, he's corrupting her and she's gonna fall to the same dark side temptation just like he did. And fucking blows the roof off and is like, nah, son. And she's like, fuck you, tell me what up. And he's like, get the fuck off my island. Oh, and there's also a great scene before that, where Luke went onto the Millennium Falcon, and he's like struggling with himself, like, do I go back and help the Resistance? I can't because I'm such a fucking failure. And R2-D2's in there, and he's like, yo, buddy, why are you an asshole? And Luke's like, dude, chill. And there's this great scene where he's like, I wish I could make you understand. I can't go and help them. And R2-D2 plays the message from New Hope, where Leia's like, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. And Luke's like, that's a cheap shot. That was funny and great and awe and yes. But he's still like, I can't go back. I can't help. I suck. I'm the worst. Everyone hates me because I'm bad. No. Everyone should hate me because I'm terrible. And so, like, he blows the roof off of where Rey's staying, literally, and she's like, fucking explain what happened. Is he telling the truth about you trying to kill him? And he's like, fuck off. And they get in a fight, and it's a cool little fight, but then, like, she cheats and grabs the lightsaber and is like, fuck you, tell me what up. And he, like, tells her what up. He tells her the full story of he went, like, he sensed that, like, Ben had this conflict in him of the dark side, and he went to see him that night, and he felt like he's already given in. He's already fully given himself over to the temptation of the dark side. He is lost. He has embraced the dark side, is what he felt. And he's like, in a moment of pure, mindless instinct, I felt, shit, dark side, evil Jedi, zoom. But, like, it passed in an instant. He's like a shadow. It passed. And, like, I regretted it, and I wasn't gonna do anything, but the lightsaber was out, right? I had the lightsaber in my hands, and it was turned on. And Ben woke up and turned over, and I saw the eyes of a boy who had been betrayed by his master. And so it's like, that's why I can't help you. That's why I'm a failure. I fucked up. And he should hate me. I'm bad. I'm a bad teacher. I fucked everything up. And, like, he is completely lost, and I drove him to it. And she's like, he's not 100% lost. I feel the conflict in him. I can go turn him to the light side of the Force again. And if you're not going to come help us, then I got to go and try and get him to turn over and help us. Okay? So bye. And so she bails out of there. and goes off with the Falcon, and Luke is like fed up with it all. He's like, once again, I fucked up. Once again, because in his mind, she's lost. She's either gonna get lured into the dark side herself because she has that same temptation in her, or is just gonna get killed. So once again, he has failed one of his students. So he's like, fuck it, burn it all down. Burn it all down. Burn it all down. So he's literally taking a fucking matchstick and goes up to the big tree with all the gold Jedi shit in it. He's gonna burn it down, and then a fucking ghost of Yoda shows up, and the theater goes crazy. And it's like, yeah, Yoda. And it was really cool. It was a really good puppet. Because it was a fucking puppet. They got a fucking puppet of Yoda. And he's like, fuck you, Yoda, I'm gonna go burn down this fucking tree. And Yoda's like, And then Luke goes up to the tree to burn it down, and he can't do it. And he's like, damn it, like, I'm clinging to the past. And then the ghost of Yoda's like, boop, boop, force, boop, storm, lightning cloud, bam! Lightning hits the tree, bursts into flames, and Luke's like, no! And Yoda's like, dude, you were right the first time. Like, screw it, you know? Yoda has a great speech in this, like, fucking legit wisdom in that speech. And it's like, fucking Luke, for all your old age and for all you being the Jedi Master now, still have so much to learn yourself from your own masters. And Yoda's like, hey, I'm the same, and, like, that's the point. Like, you can't teach them everything. That's the crux of his statement, like, because he's the old master talking to the new old master and being like, it's sort of a great message to the old to the parents in the theater with their kids. Because as a parental figure, as a mentor figure, you're like, I have to prepare them I have to either protect them from the world or teach them everything so that they don't make the same mistakes that I do. That is all of our hopes. Deep down, all of us go, I just want them to be better than me. I want their life to be better than mine was to the new generation. But the truth of it is, you can't. You can't save them from the world. You can't save them from themselves, and you can't teach them everything. They have to learn it for themselves. They have to learn through their own mistakes. They're not going to listen to you. They're going to go off and fuck up. They're going to go out and make the same stupid mistake that you did. And through that mistake, then they will learn. Because it is only through making those mistakes and experiencing those failures that we are truly taught. No amount of teaching and mentorship will prepare you for real life like real life slapping you in the dick will, right? There's only so much you can do. And the line I really liked was like, that's what sucks about being a mentor, is we are what they will always outgrow. That, like, eventually, they're not going to need you anymore. And that's hard to accept as a parent, as a teacher, as a mentor. It's hard to accept that one day, there's nothing left for you to teach them, and they need to go off on their own life and make their own mistakes and forge their own path. And it's a great scene. It's so many great scenes. This movie's great. But anyway. Again, like, even fucking Luke had a storyline in this movie, and he's the fucking old main character, for crying out loud. That's great that you have a fucking whole storyline and character arc for fucking Luke Skywalker in your Episode 8 Star Wars movie. I like that. Anyway. So she's like, I'm gonna get onto that ship, and this is where all the storylines divert, like, verge because Finn and his terrible entourage are getting on that ship, and she is also getting on that ship to try and get Kylo Ren to come over to the light side. So she gets dropped off on that ship, and Kylo Ren's like, hey, ha ha ha, shackle you in handcuffs and take you up to see Snoke. And she's like, dude, don't do this. When we touched, I saw your future. You won't do this. You won't turn me over. You will make the right choice. And he's like, I saw your future too. And I know who your parents are. Because she knows who her parents are. And I know that when the moment comes, you will join me. Which I think for the next movie. Anyway, so they go up to see Snoke. And Snoke's like, yo, I'ma fucking be evil and shit now. And like, Force tortures, like, does some wicked shit with the Force. And some funny shit with the Force, because he takes Luke's super cool blue lightsaber, and she tries to take it back from him, but then, like, she, like, pulls on the lightsaber and it goes, woo, bam, because he pulled it away, and that was fucking great. And he's like, you fucking loser, like, I'm the big man Majama cool guy, he's not gonna, like, I'm the cool big evil dude. Oh, you think you're so badass? Guess what? I'm gonna fuck you up. Your resistance is being obliterated right now as we speak. And you're gonna tell me where Skywalker is, and I'm gonna go kill that guy. Oh, man. So he's like Force torture, interrogating, mind reading her. And Kylo Ren's sitting there, like, being like, what is I bidding my master? He's just sitting there quietly. And Snoke's like, you think you're gonna turn him away? You think you're going to resolve the conflict inside him and turn him back to the light side? I knew about the conflict inside him, and I connected both of you through the Force. I am the reason that you were talking to each other through the Force, because I knew that you would come here trying to save him, and now I'm gonna fuck you up and find out where Luke Skywalker is. Because you're a fucking idiot, he's a brainwashed moron and my slave, you're a hotshot fucking Jedi jockey, I'm the super cool badass evil monster Force user guy, and I'ma torture you and shit, and find out where Luke Skywalker is. And she's like, and he's like, no, dude, I'm the real deal. Like, through all of this, Rey's being like, no, and he's like, no, but actually, I'm the real fucking deal. And it's like, oh shit, he's the real fucking deal. Like, every time Rey tries to be a cool guy, hero person, he's like, no, dude, no. And you're like, uh-oh, like, what's gonna happen? And so he tortures the information about Luke Skywalker out of her, and he's like, I'm gonna go to that island, I'm gonna bomb the shit out of it and kill that motherfucker. And you're gonna die right here, right now, because yeah, I'm not gonna be able to turn you to the dark side. That's just not gonna happen. Like, you're not gonna join me. You're a cool hero guy, which is why you must die. And Kylo Ren is gonna fucking do it. Like, Kylo, fucking kill her. And she's like, no, Ben. And he's like, you think you're gonna fucking get him to fucking... And the lightsaber is sitting right here on the armrest. Like, Luke Skywalker's lightsaber is sitting right here on the armrest. And he's like, you think you can tempt him back to the light side? His mind is an open book to me. I know what his intentions are. I see what he is going to do. I see him turning, and you see Kylo Ren's hand, like, with his lightsaber pointing at Rey, like he's gonna get her, and he's like, I see him turning his lightsaber on his enemy. I see him filled, like, the conflict is gone. He is resolute, and he knows what he is going to do. And he will be true to his loyalties. And he will kill his enemy right now. And then, boom, the blue lightsaber turns on and slices Snoke down the fucking middle. And it's so hardcore badass. Like, again, expectation, nope. Expectation, nope. Because you think Snoke is the big bad emperor, evil dude, mamma jamma boy, who is like the big leader of the First Order. And he's like the final boss. And fucking Kylo Ren just fucking offs him right then and there. Oh, it's so great. Like, he fucking uses the Force, turns the lightsaber on the armrest, turns it on, and slices him fucking in half. And he's like, oh, I can read his mind. And Kylo Ren was feeding him a line of bullshit and fucking tricking him and killed his ass with the lightsaber. It's so fucking cool. Such a great fucking moment where he's like, zoom, and he gets sliced down the middle, and top half falls over, bottom half stays in the seat. It was so fucking great. And Rey's like, yo! And Kylo Ren's like, yeah. And then, like, the honor guards, like, there's a bunch of red-suited Praetorians in the room all around them, who are, like, Snoke's personal bodyguards or whatever, and they're like, motherfucker, and, like, they're gonna... And so Rey grabs the blue lightsaber, Kylo Ren has his lightsaber that's all cool and red and broadswordy, and they get back-to-back. Like, Rey, Kylo, back-to-back, facing down all of the honor guard dudes, and they're like, let's kick it. And they start fighting. It is the best fight scene. Oh my, and again, it's not what you expect. You watch a Star Wars movie, you think there's gonna be a big lightsaber fight, where the good guy with the blue lightsaber is gonna fight the bad guy with the red lightsaber, and the red lightsaber and the blue lightsaber are gonna go like this, zoom, 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 and they're gonna fight each other. And expectation, nope, the blue lightsaber good guy and the red lightsaber bad guy are gonna fight together mutually against a whole bunch of other opponents, and it's this big, really good fight. It's really fucking a good fight scene, yo. Once again, all you gotta do is not be the prequels with their fucking really bad, stupid, fucked up, asinine choreography. No. Good choreography, good fight scene, good them swinging the lightsabers around, good enemies. Like, it feels like an actual fight scene where fucking people are getting fucked up. Like, people get wasted in this movie. Like, that whole fucking fight was so fucking good. Like, seriously, that fight scene is gonna be on YouTube really fucking soon. If you've already gotten this far in the movie, you gotta look at that fight scene, because it was a really fucking good fight scene. I fucking love that fight scene. Oh, man. Oh, I'm so pumped up thinking about it. Oh, the way it ended. Pew. Fight scene was so good. So, fight scene's over. Rey and Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, like, killed all the dudes, and the fucking big room with Snoke is just burned to the ground. Great visual set design, by the way, also. Fuck, this movie was great. And so, all of the fucking bad guys are dead. So, Rey goes like, okay, order them to stop firing on the Resistance. We gotta save the fleet. And Kylo's like, no. Like, I'm not a good guy, you fucking stupid bitch. I killed the leader. Now I am in charge. I'm the cool new bad guy. I'm gonna rule the First Order. Fuck the Resistance. They're gonna die. And I'm gonna be in charge. You can be in charge with me. Join me, Rey. You know, they do have that connection. He cares about her now. Just like she also does care about him. But he's like, dude, I fucking run this shit. Let's run it together. And she's like, no, but the Resistance, we gotta save them. And he's like, fuck it. The past doesn't matter. Let the past die. Hey, remember Empire Strikes Back? Let the past die. Hey, remember the Battle of Hoth? Silly movie. Anyway, so Kylo Ren is going, let the past die. Fuck it. Fuck them. Like, join me. And she's like, no, dude, like, that's evil. I'm not going to be evil. And he's like, no, let it go. Let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Anyway, so he's like, come on, you gotta join me. I know about your parents. You already know about your parents, don't you? And like, again, the acting's really fucking good because she is just fucking in tears right now. And he's like, you know what the truth about your parents is, Ray? And like, who are Ray's parents? For like 2 years, who are Ray's parents? YouTube theory video, who are Ray's parents? People on social media, oh, this is who I think Ray's parents are. You know, like, theory video, are the main characters from Star Wars Battlefront 2 Ray's parents? And my dad was like, oh, she's the twin, and they're twins, but she just got separated. And I was always of the, like, she's probably Luke Skywalker's daughter or something, right? Like, literally for 2 years, the speculation has raged. And I was everyone was speculating. I was like, who the fuck are her parents? It's probably Luke. That was me. Other people had their own theories. But everyone was like, who's Ray's parents? And then what does this movie do? Your parents were nobodies. They were just a bunch of junkers who sold you for scrap metal. Like, a bunch of fucking loser assholes who ditched you on a shitty-ass desert planet for $5 and who probably just died in a gutter somewhere where no one cares about them. They were nameless fucking nobodies who don't matter. You don't have some grand parentage. You don't have some lofty destiny because of your ancestry. You came from nothing. You are nothing. You know, you're not the hero. You're not the chosen one because your parents were crazy cool, badass, awesome guys. Your parents were fucking garbage. You don't come from anything special. You know, you're not the fucking chosen one. You're just some nobody, you know? Expectation? Nope. Expectation of Rey being the fucking chosen one and being whoever's daughter? No. She's just some bitch. Just some bitch. Why is she so strong with the Force then? Were you not listening to Luke Skywalker? Anyone can be strong in the Force. It doesn't fucking matter. You don't have to be the child of a fucking Jedi to be strong in the Force, okay? Why is Rey strong in the Force? Because she's a scrappy little bitch who grew up on her own 2 feet. And, you know, when you ain't got no one to depend on but yourself, she just tapped into it, you know? Like, she was in tune with the energy that binds the universe, and it helped her survive on a subliminal level. Anyone can do that. Anyone can tap into that. That's why the heroes never get shot by the blasters, because they subliminally tap into the energies of the Force, and it works with and through them and guides them. And they use it to help them without being aware that that's what they're doing. You know, you don't have to be Force sensitive. The Force exists in all things and in all people. Rey just, like, depended on it to such a degree that, you know, it was fucking there. It's not some grand destiny or fate. She's not special. That's the point. The Last Jedi, anyone can do that if they have the discipline for it. And she just had that discipline. And a lot of denial and insecurity. So, like, maybe the next movie will be like, nah, her, like, there's something something's going on there. But to me, that revelation was, like, kind of completely redeemed Rey's character, because Rey was a little bit of a Mary Sue. I mean, she still she's still a little bit of a Mary Sue, but that redeemed her character for me, in my eyes. Like, you're not special. You're not the chosen one. You came from nothing. You are nothing. But not to me. I care about you, Rey. Join me and we can rule the galaxy together. And so she's like, nah, and like force pulls the blue lightsaber, Luke's lightsaber, and Kylo Ren force pulls the lightsaber. And so they're both force pulling on the blue lightsaber and trying to summon it to them. And like they're being pushed back by the energy of it and pulling on the lightsaber, and I was like, oh my god, it's gonna snap in half, snap it in half, snap it in half, snap it in half, snap it in half. And they're pulling on the lightsaber, and they're going like, pulling on it, and then boom, it snaps in half. And they get blown back by the force of it. By the force of it. And it's like, oh, let the past die. So, like, that was timed with the fucking Big Mama Jamma resistance ship going light speed through the fleet. So, again, it all coalesced in that moment. So, the ship gets blasted open, the resistance has escaped down to the planet, and it cuts back to the room with Kylo Ren being passed out, and the military guy comes up and he's like, the fuck? The fuck? Like, the supreme leader is dead. The fuck? And Kylo Ren's like passed out, and you see for a minute like the military leader guy Haas is like pulling out his gun, like he's gonna fucking kill this kid. But then he wakes up and he's like, oh shit. And so Kylo Ren wakes up and is like, yeah, she killed him, I guess, and escaped. They're all on the planet, let's go get them. And he's like, who the fuck are you to give orders to me? Like, Snoke was my leader, and now he's dead. Who are you? Like, oh yeah, that's why evil dark Jedi are always in charge. Because they can kill you by going like this. The Supreme Leader is dead. Long live the Supreme Leader! That was a great moment. Like, Kylo Ren is in charge of the First Order now. He is the fucking guy. He's sitting in that fucking chair. And so, and I was like, this is a good place for the movie to end, honestly. But, like I said, it keeps fucking going. I was like, whoa, how long is this movie? So, the Resistance goes down onto the base. And they're like, let's send the message out. Okay, this plan kind of depended on the idea that the First Order wouldn't know we're here. But they do, and they're coming down, and they're gonna try and get us. So, this plan is not great now. Thanks, Poe. So they send out the message to be like, hey, all our allies, come help us out, because we're kind of fucked right now. And Finn and Rose come in on a shuttle that they escaped on, and are with the Resistance again. And that's a cute scene, because Poe reunites with BB-8, and Finn's on the base, and he's like, we're good, we're gonna help out. And so, like, this, the First Order comes down, and they're gonna come up on that base. Drop, the base. So they're gonna come after the base, and they're like, okay, we just gotta hold out long enough for our allies to come rescue us, is their thinking. Like, we sent the message out, all of our allies are out there, they're gonna come help us. So they're like, we just gotta last long enough, because they're bringing a big-ass gun, and they're gonna blow a hole open in that door, right? So they're like, okay, we just gotta last long enough. So, like, they rush out into the trenches and turrets to try and hold them off. And again, it's very Empire Strikes Back. It's evoking the Battle of Hoth, because the battlefield is all white. And they're in trenches, and there are big AT-AT walkers coming down on them. It's very Battle of Hoth, very Empire Strikes Back, but expectation, no, right? Well, for one thing, like the imagery is still very Hoth, but instead of snow, it's salt. It's a salt planet, and the salt is red, and it just turns white because of the sun. So, like, whenever there are like footprints in the white, it's red. So a guy like salt. It's a salt planet. And it's the planet with the foxes, the crystal foxes. When they're closing the big door on the resistance base, all of the crystal foxes run into the base. And I swear to God, there are whole scenes where it's like for a whole second, it's just showing the fox's face. Like they're crystal foxes. And it's like, yo, here are the crystal foxes. And I'm like, yeah! Every time they were on scene, I was like, yeah! Oh yeah! Oh, the foxes are the best! They were the best part of the movie! They were just hopping around, being all cute and being foxy. Foxes! Fuck! I'm just gonna get lost. I'm gonna get lost in this hole. I need to get out. Okay. Okay. Foxes. Anyway. So, instead of snow speeders, they have these cool little scooter speeders that they're racing around on, and they get into a fun little speeder fight racing towards the walkers and their big fucking gun, their goal being blow up the big fucking gun so they don't break our fucking door down, right? And they're going around out there, and the TIE fighters get launched and are like, pew pew, blowing up the fucking like speeders that they're on, and all of them die except for the main characters that we've seen have been named. How about that? And so the TIE fighters are shooting at their asses, and then the Millennium Falcon shows up with Rey and Chewie and all them on it, and a bunch of snow owls, and a bunch of owl penguins, snow owls, owl penguins, being cute, being mascot characters. So the Millennium Falcon shooting at the TIE fighters, covering the speeders with Rey and Chewie on it, and Kylo Ren, who's like in like one of the command, like it's Kylo Ren and Host in the command ship, and they have some funny scenes too, where Kylo Ren's like fire on the fucking speeders, and Host is like fire on the speeders, and Kylo Ren goes like you fucking asshole. Like there's some conflict there. It's pretty good. Because they used to be competing for Snoke's affection, but now Kylo Ren is like, I'm in fucking charge here, and Haas is like, fuck you, right? So the Millennium Falcon shows up and he's like, I want every fucking fighter to blow that piece of junk out of the sky. Like, fucking Falcon, fucking shoot it. And so they lead them off. Like, every single TIE fighter is going off chasing the Falcon. And like, man, they fucking hate that thing. And there's a great little, chase scene with the Falcon going through these big red salt caves. And it looks really cool. I love this fucking planet. This planet was so badass. Like, the visuals of the speeders racing along across the white field with a big red salt dust cloud behind them. It looked really fucking cool. And the Falcon flying through the fucking red salt crystal caverns being chased by TIE fighters. It looked really cool. Visually, fucking beautiful and phenomenal. And so, like, they're dealing with the TIE fighters, you know, whatever. And then the speeders are going for that big gun, but they're still being shot at by the AT-ATs. So, character development, Poe is like, we can't. Like, this isn't gonna work. This plan is stupid, we're all gonna die, fuck the plan, we gotta go, we're pulling back. Like, Poe is like, hey look, he's like, character development. We gotta fucking pull away and retreat. We're just throwing our lives away senselessly, and this isn't going to work anyway. Fuck it. And Finn, who has been off gallivanting around with this stupid fucking cunt, worthless character for the entire movie, hasn't learned that lesson. Like I said, that storyline actively detracts from the rest of this movie. So Finn has not learned that, because he was wasting his time on fucking Space Vegas. So he's like, I'm gonna sacrifice my life by driving myself into the fucking gun to blow it up. And Rose, like, crashes into his ship and gets him to stop, and has a resolution to her character where she's like, it's not about killing the guys we hate, it's about saving the people we love. And the only redeeming part of that storyline is, like, she crashes into him before he can commit suicide in a sacrifice to destroy the big gun by flying into the barrel to destroy it. What was their plan, by the way? So she crashed into his ship to save him and stop him from doing that. And they're jumping, and so he's jumping out of the wreckage of his ship and go into her and being like, yo, why'd you do that? And she's like, I'm a really bad character. And she reaches out and kisses him. And the look on his face actually kind of made it worth it, because it was the hardest fucking friend zoning I have ever seen. Like, that was some hard friend zoning right there, where she kissed him and he was like, no, I'm exaggerating for comedic effect, but he was not into it at all. He was like, nah, that ain't me. No, like that, like, it was really good acting, but that's what was going on in his head. Like, ew, no to that. It was fucking great. Like, the complete, shut that bitch down. And then she's out of the movie for the rest of the movie, which is also awesome. Fucking hate that character. Anyway. So Poe gets back into the base and is like, we gotta go. But there's nowhere to go. The base is on total lockdown. That door is the only way in or out. They just punched a hole through the door. We can't escape. They're gonna come in and kill us. We're kind of fucked. And so Leia's sitting there like, no one's coming. No one is coming. They got the message. They're not coming to save them. The cavalry ain't gonna get there. No one is coming to save them. So she's sitting there kind of hopelessly. Kind of being like, fuck. We're all dead. And then Luke walks into the base. Luke walks in and he's like, what up? I'm here to save the day because I'm Luke Skywalker. And the audience cheers and applause, which is great. I'm sitting there going, did he shave his beard? I couldn't help but notice that. Like, did he shave? And dye it brown? Like, that's... Like, I was kind of suspicious for a minute. I was like, what's going on here? But I also was like, yay, Luke's here to save the day. He showed up to save the fucking day. And has some words with Leia. And that was a great interaction between these two how great. Fucking Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. That's so nice. So he's like, I'm gonna go deal with this. So he walks through the hole in the door of the base and like, I'm gonna go deal with Kylo Ren. And Kylo Ren is up there in the ship going, I want every gun we have to fire on him right now. And so all of the AT-ATs point at Luke and just start fucking shooting him. And like, it was like a shocking, like, the first AT-AT shoots and hits him, and you see his body just disappear into a plume of red salt dust, and they just fucking shell barrage Luke Skywalker for a full fucking minute. and like it's a punch to the gut moment. Like it's supposed to take you by surprise. Like people went, "Oh my god!" Like Luke's dead. Oh shit! But it's actually again like this is more of a classic Star Wars humor moment. Of the humor comes in that Luke Skywalker walks out to have a big lightsaber duel, and he's like, "Fuck it, shoot him! Shoot, 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 shoot!" Literally for a full minute, you have these AT-ATs barraging that fucking spot that Luke's standing in, just firing and firing and firing and firing and firing. And Kylo Ren's like, "More, more, shoot him!" And so, like, literally a full minute. It was actually hilarious. Until finally Haas is like, "Okay, stop, stop, stop. Like, stop all the guns." And he turns to Kylo Ren and he's like, "Do you think you got him? Like, did you get him? You fucking asshole." Okay, everyone charge in there. And then the dust clears and Luke's just standing there. Like, Luke's just fucking standing there and he literally goes... It's so fucking great. So great. And like the... Oh, no. What was the cool moment? Oh, yeah, it was right now. It was right now where Kylo Ren's like, "Okay, I gotta go down there and deal with this. Like, I gotta go down there and have the cool lightsaber fight, I guess." And Haas is like, "No! Like, do..." And just BAM! Like, literally force fucking shoves him against the wall, like, just... And like, one of the other guys in the ship is like, "Right away, sir." He's like, "Take me down there so I can deal with this." And Haas is like, "No." And the pilot, "Right away, sir." And lands so that Kylo Ren can get out. Literally such a great moment. Literally such a great moment. So Kylo Ren comes out, and he's got and he's like, and he's like, "Are you here to say you forgive me?" And Luke's like, Kylo Ren's like, "Are you here to say you forgive me and try to save my soul?" And Luke's like, "Nah." And they just take out their lightsabers. It's so fucking great. And Kylo Ren's like, "I'm gonna get you," and comes at him and tries to hit him with the lightsaber, and Luke just fucking starts dodging him. He does some Matrix-ass dodging. He's like, "You ain't touching this. You ain't touching this. I'm Luke fucking Skywalker. I ain't touching this." And Kylo Ren's like, "Fucking asshole! This is cheating!" Like, not... Like, suspicious thing number 2. Like, I was suspicious because his beard's different. He trimmed his beard and it's a different color. And suspicious thing number 2, Luke pulls out his lightsaber and it's his blue lightsaber. Like, his blue lightsaber. The one that they just ripped in half on the ship 10 minutes ago. Did he make a new blue lightsaber? What happened to his green lightsaber? Why does he just have a new blue lightsaber that looks suspiciously similar to the old blue lightsaber? So he pulls that out, and again, expectation, nope. You think again, oh, the good guy has the blue lightsaber and the bad guy has the red lightsaber. Boom, 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 we're gonna have our cool lightsaber duel. But Luke doesn't fucking fight him. He has his lightsaber out, but he just dodges and wicked weaves around Kylo Ren trying to cut him down. Doesn't, like, deflect, just, "Oh, you ain't got shit. Ain't got shit, bitch. You can't touch me." You expect them to actually fight, but he doesn't. And then you think, oh, they're gonna do the A New Hope thing, where Obi-Wan goes, "If you strike me down, I'll become stronger than you can possibly imagine," and lets Vader kill him. And you think that's what they're gonna do. Expectation, you think Luke is being like, other front of the line was like, "I'm sorry," and Kylo Ren's like, "You should be." Like, I bet you are, you asshole. So he's like, if you strike me down in anger, I will always be with you. And so Kylo Ren's like, fuck you! And goes to cut him down and slices him in half. Only he doesn't get cut in half. Expectation, you think it's going to be the Obi-Wan sacrifice himself moment. But that's not, nope, that's not what happens. Nope. You turn around and Luke's still standing there and not cut in half, even though we saw the lightsaber go through him. So Kylo Ren's like, what? And he's like, zoom, 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 zoom. It's a fucking projection. It's a force projection. It's like a force hologram. It's not really Luke. He's back on the island, meditating and projecting an image of himself across time and space. In a considerable strain, by the way. And so, like, expectation, you think, oh, I will become stronger than you could possibly imagine. Nope, he wasn't even there the whole time, and he's fine. And the vision fades because Luke's like, I'm done. Because during all that fighting, it goes back to Finn and Poe, and they're like, and Finn's like, we gotta go help him. And Poe's like, no. He's doing this for a reason. He's doing this to give us a distraction so we can escape. Like, he is diverting their attention so that we can get the fuck out of here. There's got to be a secondary way out. How did, like, he got in here somehow, which is funny because in retrospect, Luke didn't get in there at all. So Poe goes, he got in here, how did he get in here? We can get out that way. But Luke didn't get in from anywhere because it's a force projection, so kind of false hope there, Luke. But anyway, like, then suddenly they all look around and go, where are all the Foxes? The Foxes have plot relevance in the movie. The Foxes are plot relevant. The Foxes are the best part of the movie. So they're like, where are all the Foxes? And Finn calls them crystal critters, which is great. Great name. Great name. Great name. Great name. I love the Foxes so much. So they look around and it's like, the Foxes are all gone. They must have gotten out somewhere. Let's follow their trail. And then, hey, like, Poe's character development, he's like, come on, let's go. And all of the Resistance members look to Leia. And Leia goes, what are you looking at me for? Follow him. Like, he has become a leader. Hooray. Anyway. So they're all, one of the Crystal Foxes is like, yo, guys, come follow me. And they follow the Crystal Fox and they're escaping the base. And they follow the Crystal Fox through the place. And it goes back to Rey in the Falcon. And they've still got the beacon that Leia gave her from all that way back, detecting where they are. So they're like, okay, we gotta, like, land the Falcon wherever the Resistance is so that we can help them when they get out. So the Fox leads them to this big caved-in rock pile. And he squeezes through with his little foxy body to escape, and they're like, shit, we can't get out. It's a tiny little hole in a big pile of rocks blocking the exit that we can't get through. And so Rey, like, sees all the Foxes running, and she's like, over there, set the Falcon down. And so she gets out and goes up to the big rock-covered wall, and she goes, lifting rocks. Because earlier on the planet, Luke was like, what do you think the Force is? And she was like, it's a magic that the Jedi have that lets them lift things. And he's like, it's not a magic power that lets you lift rocks, you idiot. And so then reincorporation, she's on the fucking in front of the rock door and is like lifting rocks. And so while Luke is distracting Kylo Ren and being like, I'm not the last Jedi. You suck, haha. The franchise ain't over yet, motherfuckers. So, and then cut back to Rey lifting all the rocks out of the way, and it looks super fucking wicked the way they depict the Force in this. Like, oh man, it makes me so happy. After the fucking prequels, the way the Force is depicted in new modern Star Wars media makes me so fucking happy. You have no idea. I fucking hated the prequel so goddamn much, and just anyway. So she's lifting all the rocks out of the way, and all the resistance is like, "Yo, girl," and she like lifts out of the way, and Finn runs out, and they hug, and it's a really great moment because yay, they have been reunited. And so all the resistance members get on the Millennium Falcon to fly away, and like Luke is like, "Okay, I'm done with the projection. They've escaped. They're good." So Luke's like, "Oh, dude. That was hard. Oh, woo, whew, okay, I'm done." like it's this. It was kind of confusing until you're like, oh, because he's looking out into the sunset, and Rey and Leia are like, what, what, and Luke is just sitting there being like, done, and he disappears. He like Obi-Wan, like Yoda, he becomes one with the Force, and his body disappears, and his robe falls off, and it floats away. And Luke Skywalker's dead. But not because he died, but because, like, I'm done. Here's looking at you, kid. Whoosh. You know, become one with the Force, we're done. It was a great, like, again, expectation. Instead of zigging, they zag. You expect him to do the Obi-Wan thing, but instead he did the Yoda thing. Anyway. Ooh. Ooh. So Luke's dead, and Leia and Rey are like, yeah, but he was cool with it. Like, his time is done. And there's this funny moment where Poe and Rey meet for the first time, which is funny because they're like, oh yeah, these two main characters haven't met before, have they? That was funny. And like Kylo Ren's going through the base being like, God fucking damn it. And he goes into a room, and like suddenly Rey and him are in the room together again through the Force. Even though Snoke ain't alive anymore, that connection continues to exist regardless. So he's like, she's on the Falcon and he's in a room on the base, and they're looking at each other, and she just closes the door on him. Like, closes the door to the Falcon, and like, for now, that connection has been severed. The bridge ain't burned, but no cars are going across for now, right? And so they're sitting on the Falcon, escaping, like, they've gone away. Like, what little of the resistance remains, right? Like, 30 fucking people maximum. And Rey and Leia are sitting on the ship being like, how can we fight back against the First Order with just this? And she has the broken lightsaber in her hands. It's fucking broken. It's got the crystal in it, which is cool because we've never actually fucking seen that in a movie before. That's always been a part of the expanded universe, is the Kyber crystals that power the lightsabers. And we finally see one in a movie. How cool is that? Anyway. And so she's like, we've got everything we need. It's going to be fine. And then it pulls back, and we see like all of the Resistance members with Rey and Leia in the middle. And the movie doesn't end for some reason, even though that was the part where it should have ended. That was the moment that the movie should have fucking ended. But for some fucking stupid-ass motherfucking reason, they feel the need to fucking spoil that perfect fucking great spot for an ending by suddenly cutting back to the fucking racetrack children, the children who worked at the racetrack that were part of the stupid Space Las Vegas story, and they're like being inspired by the stories of the rebellion against the Empire. and it's a fucking kid telling a story to a bunch of other kids, and they're like, "Yo, we're stupid, terrible child actors, and it's stupid." And the kid goes outside and grabs a broom and holds it up like a lightsaber because he has been inspired and filled with hope against the tyranny of his life. Cut to credits, and it's like, oh, way to leave me with a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth for some fucking reason. I get what you were doing, but it's perfect spot to, like, I get it. I get the idea. Like, we have everything we need right here because they have inspired hope. They are the spark of hope that will ignite in the darkness of the First Order by inspiring a new generation, and it's a secondary subliminal message of a new generation of children being inspired by the stories of the old Star Wars movies to forge their own future as a new generation of Star Wars fans. It's literally a child with a ring that has the rebel symbol on it, holding a broom like a lightsaber. It's pretty fucking obvious, the symbolism and the of what they're going for, but still, I feel like that was a much better ending it on the slow pull away of the Resistance fighters on the Falcon. But anyway, so that's The Last Jedi. Point by point, blow by blow. This video was probably longer than the fucking movie, which I liked. Great movie. There were parts of it I didn't like, but on the whole, fucking flippin' frickin' fantastic. Goddamn. Don't let cynical bitches get you down. Star Wars is like, you know what you need to have a good Star Wars movie? Stars and wars. You know what this movie had? Stars and a war. We're done. Great movie. Yay. I am not going to see that Han Solo movie next year, though, for sure. That one, I agree. That's stupid. We're done. I'm not going to go see that. So, you know. Did I do one for Force Awakens? I feel like I should have. I did one for Rogue One. I don't remember if I did one for Force Awakens. I'm doing one for this. I don't think I did one for Force Awakens. I did one for Rogue One. I did one for this. I'm not doing one for the Han Solo movie. Okay, we're done with that. I'm not gonna go see that. Star Wars. It just makes me happy. Anyway, good movie. I'm really tired. I'm gonna go to bed. Thank you for watching.